Hello and welcome to our series of the week for week 3. We are in a windy Rochester. Beautiful day for Quidditch. We've got a big one here between the Rochester Whiteout and the Toronto Raiders. I'm Ethan Sturm alongside Nick Jablonski. Nick, we took a long trip out here, but we're going to get some great Quidditch today.
Yeah, I am so excited, Ethan. This is the series we had circled on our calendars from the second the schedule was released.
Yeah. So in this new North Division format, the way it works is that the division's split into two, and you play a round robin within your half, and the winner of each half both automatically qualifies for championships and gets a chance to play in the North Division Championship in July in South Bend, Indiana, for a shot at the North Division title. This game decides so much of that. If Toronto takes the series, they clinch a spot in that game and a spot in championships. They'd be the first team. Rochester, a win this series, they'd have be in the driver's seat. They would have to still take care of business against Cleveland. Going to that Cleveland game, because we saw them play Toronto already. Toronto, a dominant 3-0 win, mixing up a series of different defenses as well as some really strong beater play. What do you think we'll see defensively from Toronto in this series?
I would expect them to come out in their mark and see if Rochester can beat it. Now, we do know that Rochester has a lot of veterans who are very, very comfortable playing against a marked defense. But this last year in the USQ Club Division, we didn't really see a lot of marked defense. So maybe that adds up to a little bit of strangeness. It wouldn't shock me if they break out a 2-2 zone as well, and maybe even a Three Trees Baylor kind of zone.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the veterans. Obviously, perhaps the most notable of those veterans still with the team is Bassam Ashkar, the former North Division MVP, the year that Rochester won the North Division all the way back in 2018. Huge season this year in USQ. Has definitely not lost step, probably just grown every step of the way. What have you seen Ashkar as he's grown into the club and MLQ player he is today?
I mean, he's more confident with the ball in his hands. Before it was a lot of driving and finishing. That's what won Rochester that championship. But now there's a lot more distribution, a lot more comfort helping out and finding his teammates throughout the field.
Yeah. And then on the Toronto side, we talked about those beaters. This Toronto team is stacked with Team Canada talent. Honestly, we'll see when we see Team Canada taking on Team USA again. But in the meantime, we have, Derek Taylor and Brittany Kahane, a really big series against Cleveland. This team doesn't have Zach McDonald or Sam McCall, who have been with the team in the past. They should be joining at some point in the season. We haven't seen them yet. But what did you see from Taylor and Kahane in week 1?
I saw aggressive beating. I mean, Cleveland was without arguably what we think is going to be its best beater pair for the year. But Toronto took that and dominated it. Every single time they were looking to press, they were meeting Cleveland basically at half pitch. They were out and confident throughout the whole series, and I expect to see a lot of the same here.
Yeah, Toronto in its second season in MLQ, they had to miss the 2021 season due to just the lack of ability to do international play. But all the way back in 2019, they had a strong finish in the North Division, finishing third, and made that trip to championships. Rochester, obviously, been in the East Division for a few years at this point, making the return back. Last year was a bit of a rocky season, probably one of the lower finishing seasons ever for Rochester, but it was a commitment to their youth, and it's really paid dividends. I think two of the players we've been highlighting the most in terms of that paying dividends, Kip Palpour and Mitch Vargas. What have you seen from them this year coming into the series?
I mean, Kip Palpour got minutes for Bosnia all throughout the USQ season. Kip Palpour is arguably the best seeker in the North Division, and that helps. That changes the math, right? You no longer have to say we're only going to win in the Quaffle game. You can rely on those 35 points game in and game out from Palpour. And Mitch Vargas is electric in the lane, finishing, finding other teammates, moving the ball where he needs to, and continues to be an efficient scorer for this team.
Yeah, so I think we're about to get started here as we start throwing over the field. We're seeing starting lineups on the field for Rochester. Keeper is going to be Bassam Ashkar, who we were just talking about. Kip Palpour, Solomon Gominiak, Cody Kiefer, the starting Quaffle players. I think Cody actually might be a starting beater. Just can't see quite which way the headband's turned. Liz Girosso, the head coach, looks to be a starting chaser as well. And Brady Groh is going to get the start in the beating game. Brady Groh out of that RIT program and a big contributor for the team last season. Across the way, Andrew Custer's going to be getting the start keeper for Toronto. We see Corey Smithson starting at beater. Michael Wanless, chaser. Sorry, we're just waiting for people to come out. Brian Melchior starting chaser as well. Joanne Lamb starting chaser. And Alex Scherger is going to be the other starting beater. A big starting roster line here for Toronto.
Yeah, and we saw Toronto use that physicality, and it looks like they're starting out that way as well this game.
Yeah. You got to show that physicality. You got to show a willingness to play a high beating set if you're going to play mark defense. So we'll see if that's the way this Toronto team gets started out here again. Chris LeCompte, our head ref's about to get ready to get us started. Just needs to work on controlling those balls a little bit. Like we said, it is quite a windy day in Rochester. Nick, as a coach, what do you say to your team on a windy day? What are you trying to switch up strategy-wise?
Yeah, I would expect to see a lot more screens up top. You want to move the ball in smart ways, and that means low to the ground passes. That means driving into the lane and sharp, hard push passes that stay straight down. You cannot float a pass in this weather.
Yeah, you got to shorten the general distance of the passes or keeping it low. Otherwise, it's going to be turnovers galore. And with these two teams, we're hoping to see anything but a sloppy series, and I don't expect a sloppy series from them, especially with so much at stake here. Just counting out those final steps, finding some ball markers, and we're going to get started here. Do believe it is going to be Cody Kiefer starting at beater for Rochester alongside Brady Groh.
Beautiful day out here today, Ethan.
Yeah.
Really, really great weather other than the wind for Quidditch.
Yeah. Obviously, earlier today, the New Orleans Curse and the League City Legends had to play in high 90s heat. They had to have additional heat stoppages. We're not going to have any of that today. It's a beautiful day, a beautiful summer day here in Rochester. We're about to get started. It's like Kip Palpour and I believe Michael Wanless are going to be running for this quaffle. No, it's going to be Custer's actually making the run. He's going to get the quaffle. It's still loose on the ground, and Galminiak just steps in, kicks it up, throws back. Chris LeCompte is going to let that throw stand, even though they were beat. And Palpour is going to have the ball, and Bloodsher control is with Rochester as well. A bunch of substitutions. Emily Hickmott entering the game at beater alongside Josh Tomlin. Bassem Ashkar with the ball up on the right side, bringing it down. Gets it across to Jack Mosley of the RPI program. Back to Ashkar, working on the side. Gets into the lane. Puts it through, no problem. Gets right by Melchior. Melchior never really stepped high enough on that play.
Yeah, and interesting to see Jack Mosley, who spent most of the spring semester at beater for RPI, playing in the quaffle game here for Whiteout.
Yeah, Galminiak presses very, very high there. It's tackle. Ends up just getting beat. Now it's Palpour pressing high as well. Pass on the side to Melchior. Got Lamb behind, but it's going to go back up the top to Wanless. Wanless behind Churcher, and with Bloodsher control, it's a beat on Tomlin. Creates a brief no Bloodsher, but the high press makes it too hard to get into the zone. Tomlin now has the ball, but again, it's a huge wrap by Galminiak. Loose ball goes over Joe Lamb. Joe Lamb's looking for a reset. It's not going to quite get there. Gets caught up in the wind, and Tomlin and Galminiak gets fallen, and they're looking to run. Galminiak looking to hit all the way down, fires it across to Mosley. There's going to be a conversation there on that beat from Scherzer, whether it came in time.
Great play by Josh Tomlin up here at the top here to hold back the Toronto Raiders beater. I'm working on getting a number for you.
Yep, that's Smithson right there.
Yeah, Smithson, and that allowed that fast transition play to happen regardless what happens here.
So they're going to say Mosley got it off, and it's a 20-0 start here. A big start by Rochester. We talked about how Toronto was physical 2 weeks ago. It's been Rochester who's been out physicaling them on the first few possessions. Smithson throws back to keep control. Scherzer's going to be able to protect that from Tomlin, no problem. As bringing up the ball is Custers. Again, this high press from the two top chasers of Rochester with two at the hoop. So it's a hybrid 2-2 here coming out from Rochester early. We get a 1.5 opportunity on Hickmott. Pass goes a little bit high, and it's going to be tracked down by Ashkar. Just not quite clean enough on the pass to Matt Bunn, who's now in the game. And you know, that's the kind of thing in the wind you have to be perfect.
I do like that idea, though, against the 2-2. We saw Zach Doyle have a lot of success kind of cutting to that space, and Bunn just did that from the top there instead of from behind.
Yep, Ashkar with the ball coming down the field, working on Wanless. Gets right around Wanless, flips it up, goes a little high. It's being tracked down, but it's going to be the beats from Toronto. And once again, it's Toronto's early beating that's keeping them in this game. Coming down quickly the other way is Custers. Custers looking for the first of the series. Shot from the 6-yard line goes wide. It's a loose ball on the ground, eventually picked up by Ashkar. Keeper immunity, gets the turnover.
You got to score those if you're Toronto, for sure.
I think we're just going to get a pause. I think we're going to see some of those. We're on turf, and with this win, occasionally a Bloodsher is going to go very, very far off the pitch.
Yep, we have an inbound by Tomlin over there. Yeah, I mean, this Toronto beater core is doing everything we promised them to do. Holding control this whole game and looking confident while doing it.
Yep, subbing in the game is Kahane for the first time here. alongside Smith, who's still in. Smith and miss a beat on Hickmott, and Mosley's in the lane, floats one very, very high over the head of Palpour, tracks it down before the hard boundary, trying to get by Custers, gets by Custers, trying to get by Bunn, can't get by Bunn, and that is knocked down by head coach Howie. Howie looking to go the other way. A beat on Drew Ross is going to lead it to nothing, and that's what you can't do. You can't float one that lets the other team go in transition.
Yeah, and we saw Rochester go from sharp, crisp shots and passes to these floaty passes that we said you just can't do in this win today.
Yeah, that first one was really the perfect example of that. Was tracked down by Palpour, but then the shot kind of had the same problem. Subs in the beater game here. Aaron Parkinson coming in alongside Brady Groh, who had subbed out after the initial brooms up. Ashkar trying to go by Bunn. Bunn, the one who's able to get a hand on Palpour on that last possession. Girosso now has the ball on the wing, goes behind to Palpour. Palpour across to Mosley. Mosley looking for a shooting opportunity, does get wrapped. High pass to nobody in particular. Can Ashkar stop the reset? No, he cannot. One reset per possession, and that first one is going to be to Rochester here. Still with Bludgeon though, so there's not going to be a press that's going to force that second reset. Rochester's going to need to be a little more patient with the ball. Ashkar trying to get by Bunn. Bunn, a strong wrap there. A backhanded pass from Ashkar to Girosa. Falls on the ground, it's loose, and Bunn's going to get on it. Kahane's going to have to trap a ball way off pitch. Can Ashkar push into the zone? Ashkar forces the turnover. That's a heads-up play from Ashkar. Of course, in MLQ this year, it is a turnover if the ball goes into the keeper zone. There's no longer a reset opportunity. But we're going to get a penalty against Ashkar.
I do like that aggressiveness from Ashkar, though. Really trying to force the issue now, especially that it's 2-1. They've stalled out a little bit on offense, and it's really trying to push that issue and motivate his team.
So Toronto now has a chance on a power play to even this game up. Down 2-1 early. Kahane back into the play after chasing down that bludger that rolled quite a ways away. Pass goes on the wing to Wanless. Wanless has a lot of space, gets across. Oh, it's a huge play there by Melky, but he can't make it fall with the dunk. Bunn now has the ball. Back up top to Howie. A beat from Groh is blocked. Gets loose. Now a big wrap up there by Girosa, but Howie gets free again. Howie looking for his second of the game. Takes a 6-yard shot, but there's going to be a stoppage. And that was really a nice shot of Melchior getting big behind the hoops, but not able to convert the dunk. Just got a little too physical, ended up taking down the hoop beforehand, and we do have an injury on the play. Alrighty, so we're just going to get a stoppage. We're going to wait on a substitution. Ball should go back to Howie, I think, here. I think the shot happened a little bit late.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've seen happen before. If the ball is in the air when play is stopped, it's returned immediately.
Yep. So Crystal Comp just explaining that to everybody, and Howie's going to have a lot of room to execute here. Palpour is really the only person this way. I guess Mosley a step behind. Howard goes aerial on Palpour and delivers a goal. We are all knotted up at 2. Toronto, a nice little run here to get themselves back into the game.
Yeah, that's 2 for Howie so far. Howie really motivating this team and pushing forward on the offensive side.
Hey, a head coach leading by example. You love to see it. It is, however, bludger control with the combo of Groh and Madeline Fordham, who's now subbed in the game after the injury. Cody Kiefer on the pitch as well on the left wing. And we see our first of Mitch Vargas. Girosa, though, has the ball. Pushes Kiefer down and is going to find him behind the hoops. No hard step. It is going to be Bunn who steps out. Pass kind of into the lane. It was a bit of a pass shot. Mitch Vargas is going to come down with it. Working on Joe Lamb. Gets wrapped up by Howie. Puts it through. Mitch Vargas, not an easy player to stop, and finds the little 5-yarder through the left hoop, and Rochester regains the lead.
Yeah, for this 2-2 that Toronto's running, you really run a 2-2 to prevent those shots and really put contests around. We're not seeing a lot of strong contests around the hoops from Toronto.
Yeah. And, really, it's easy to forget just because he, was still in college in USQ, didn't do a ton in the USQ season, just how good Mitch Vargas was last year for this team and making a big impact on his first possession here in 2022. Melchior has the ball on the left trying to get by Vargas. Joanne Lamb's passing option down if he wants it. No, it's going to be a handoff to Bunn. No, it's a fake handoff. And now Girosa is going to need to make a wrap on Melchior. Can't quite do it. So now he's going to be able to hit the lane against Vargas, gets him out of his shoes, and makes a very nice block on a Fordham beat. But finally, it's Kiefer brings him down, and it's a no-hook shot from Melchior. Right through the hoop.
That was Logan Hartman-esque in get in the lane and make the shot without looking. Great hoops awareness there from Melchior.
Yes, I think there's going to be a conversation about the hit by Kiefer. But really, the only person who was able to bring down Melchior in that possession went right through Giroso and then faked Vargas right out of his shoes.
Yeah, we sold this as a bit of a physical series right now, and we are definitely getting that.
Yeah, it's going to be the team that hits the hardest because with the beater play feels very active and kind of back and forth, which means eventually you need to make a hit in the defense, and most of the goals have come from missed tackles.
Yeah, and I like to see this team willing to hit, especially when their beaters are going and tapping out those off-ball options to sort of force Toronto to drive.
So the goal is called good. So it is going to be a yellow card on Kiefer, but he'll serve no time. And, of course, an an All-American Quidditch at this point. 3 yellow cards to a red card, so still a long way to go there for Kiefer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Bludgers are loose on the ground. So there's going to be a fast break opportunity, possibly. Taylor does have a ball. Not sure if Kiefer's seen him yet. Now they are just going to slow it down, set up their half-court offense in a 3-3 game here early in Rochester. Series with massive implications between Toronto and the Whiteout. Vargas gets met high by Joanne Lamb.
Toronto in that marked defense now.
More marked defense here from Toronto. We'll see what answers Rochester has for it. Of course, with Bassam Ashkar off the field, not that shooting option that they have with him on it. Vargas does have it up top. Rowe considers a tap beat. Walks Lamb down. It's going to be Vargas all the way to the 6 yards line. And Vargas' shot goes wide. Palpour, though, does recover the rebound. Palpour looking to get through. Bunn wraps him. Shot high. Kiefer puts it back through. Good ball movement there from Palpour after the initial missed shot by Vargas. But, patience there and finding good opportunities against marked defense for Rochester.
Yeah, absolutely. I did like to see that twist, though. We saw that was a marked defense, but it was with a green up top. I do like that in this situation. Though you will have to meet higher for sure.
Stoppage here, I think, again, it's just for chasing down balls. These bludgers really are going everywhere. The wind's calmed down a little bit, but the gusts have been pretty effective. I think you've probably seen in the way balls have kind of gone up in the air throughout the series. So the goal puts Rochester back in the lead 4-3. Melchior coming down the pitch. Trying to get by Vargas. A screen from Lamb. You like to see that. Gets it across to Howie. Howie tracks it down. All the way behind to Joe Latorsai, who just came in, but he can't track down the loose pass. It's going to be Alyssa Girosa's ball. Beaters going everywhere. Taylor has the ball. Kahane has the ball, so it's bludger control to Toronto. See a random hoop falling, but honestly the hoops have been holding up to this win pretty well. Not much to complain about. We do see some beater subs here for Rochester. It's going to be Pat Callanan into the game. Callahan looks for an exchange with Kahane. It's misbeats on both sides, but it's going to play out to Callahan's favor. Joe Lombardi's fresh into the game now, has the ball and goes over to Girosa.
That's Emma Sherwood there, out there at beater.
Vargas misses the shot. Kiefer, though, picks it up, puts it through. Kiefer has just been crashing to these hoops and being rewarded for it here early.
And that's what we talk about with Vargas, right? Drawing the attention of the other team and then finding the open options.
Yep. You love to see it. Really, because that's the kind of thing that's not easy for younger players to kind of have all that field awareness while driving to the lane.
And this 2-2 again from Rochester with a high press.
And Callanan now looking to press with the bludgers as well, but he's going to have to get to the Scherger. They don't take an exchange there. Pass goes across to Custers. Custers wrapped by Lombardi, forces the pass to Levi Medeiros, who just came in for the first time as well. Over to Latorsai. A huge tackle by Vargas. Ball goes across and it's picked up by Kiefer. We're going to get a stoppage. Vargas getting up a little bit slowly here off of that tackle. So here in the stoppage here, this is game 1 in Rochester of our series of the week here in week 3. We've got 3 more great games, and I'm expecting them to be great games based on what we've seen so far. Of course, after this, you can catch 7 p.m., our last game of the week, in the East Division between the New York Titans and the Ottawa Black Bears. You can catch that on the New York Facebook page. And hey, it's kind of the same time as a few weeks ago, so there might be fireworks again. If we're lucky, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to that Ottawa-New York series. A lot of physicality out of that New York team with that unique mark defense, and I think it's going to lead to an interesting series. And we've got a new young Ottawa team who's going to be very exciting to watch.
So Vargas is able to walk off under his own power, so we love to see that. And it's going to be Mitch Brown subbing into the game for him. Cody Kiefer did take down that loose ball on the last possession. Wins picking up here again in Rochester. 5-3 the score. Nice little run here by Rochester. A couple stops and some goals by Kiefer to get them out in front. Kiefer's looking to fast break again, looking to add to his total. Custer's the only person he has to beat, and he goes right through in the dunk through. 6-3 Rochester. Put down with authority there by Kiefer. Scherzer and Sherwood do have budget control for Toronto. Just need a little bit more crispness in the passing to get something going offensively. Custer's bringing the ball down. .5 run by Scherzer here. Callahan gets the beat off. Medeiros with the speed gets into the lane. And it's a big hit, and it's a beat by Callahan, picked up by Brown. A tie up here amongst the players, but it's Ashley Wilson with the big hit there to stop that possession. Kiefer now with the ball in a 6-3 lead. Things starting to get a little worrisome here for Toronto. It's going to be an exchange of beats. Callahan's, I think, going to be able to get bludgeon control out of this with help from Hickmott. Lombardi hits the lane, goes right around Dykstra. A good pass to Mitch Brown, and they gets it off before the beat. 7-3. Really quickly, a 4-0 run. I think Rochester scored on 4 consecutive possessions, and things are getting dicey for Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, we saw when Callahan came in, that veteran beating presence has been able to match up with Toronto's beating, and that's when this physical Rochester team has been able to take over.
Yep, Callahan does leave the game now. It's going to be Josh Tomlin replacing him. And it's another too easy turnover there from Toronto. And you can see some frustration on the face of Custers there going back down the field. So we do get some beater subs for Toronto as well. Peter Makut coming in alongside Kahane. Cody Kiefer at the center. So much of this offensive production now has the ball on the left side. Has some passing options. Wilson's on the far side. It's where his eyes were going, but he's going to just pull it all the way back up top. Now he tries to hit the lane. Now he tries to find Wilson. Zips one right over her head and out of play.
Sherwood's going to retain control on this side, or regain control.
Yep. And that's the thing, I would say Toronto's probably at like 60, 70% bludgeon control. They just haven't been able to turn it into points on the offensive side.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to the physicality of Rochester around the hoops, right? They are getting to those hoops, and then Rochester is making the game-saving tackle down there.
McCoo coming down deep here. Tomlin's trying to stop him. It's a long pass across to Howie. Howie has 2 of this team's goals. The offense is stymied since he's left the pitch. He's looking for Custers. A great pass to Custers, and Custers finishes. And Howie has been, in the same way that Kiefer's been at the center of all Rochester's offense, Michael Howard, head coach, has been at the center of all of Toronto's. What a dime there from Howard.
And they kept the ball low. They kept the ball flat, and look, it hits the target.
Yep. 7-4 the score. Giminiak now back in the game and bringing it up. Kiefer finally going to get a breather here. It's going to be Mike Peral coming in for him. Giminiak trying to get by Bunn. Looking for a lane. A shot across. It goes to Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown trying to get by Wanless, but it's a good tackle, at least to slow him down. Mitch Brown fading back. Can't make the shot to the center hoop. Reset is used. Couldn't quite be tracked down by Peral there. And bludgeon control staying on the side. No, it's gone to Rochester on this possession. Brown all the way across to Giminiak. Has Emily Hickmott in front of him. It's ripped from Giminiak through the right hoop, and that is how you break down a mark defense. And that is not an easy shot in these conditions by any means.
No, but Solly Giminiak has made that shot their entire career.
Yep.
That is their bread and butter, and I expect them to go to that more if Toronto continues in this mark defense.
For sure. So that makes the score 8-4, and we're going to get a timeout from Toronto. Now, if you're the coach of Toronto here, what are you saying? What are your concerns? Are they offensive, the defensive, a little bit of both?
I mean, I think it's offensively at this point, right? They've started to settle down. They've started to make Rochester work for those goals. But if you're going to continue turning the ball over up top, you're going to continue giving these easy opportunities to Rochester. They need to keep the ball moving, but they need to move it smartly. And we saw that when Howie came into the game. It was a nice flat pass, nice easy pass, and then a long, sharp pass in the wind that really made for that goal.
Yeah, and what I've really loved seeing from Rochester so far is just the offensive composure. I think they scored more goals on their second, quote-unquote, second possession of the possession after using the reset than I've seen all season. And it's a lot of kind of those almost old Rochester concept we saw. Kind of those passes, get the ball behind, shoot back up top. Worst case, you're getting a rebound off of it. All their shots basically are coming from behind the hoops.
Yeah, to quote the great Kawhi Leonard, board man gets paid. And if you get those rebounds and get that second opportunity, you're going to see benefits. And Rochester definitely is in this scenario.
Yep. So we are at the beautiful McAvoy Park, courtesy of Rochester Sports Commission, and we appreciate them partnering up with us, giving us this beautiful day of Quidditch. It's probably about 70 degrees out here. It is honestly perfect Quidditch weather, everything you could ask for, minus a little bit of the wind, but we're not going to be that picky here.
Hey, as long as the teams can adjust to it, then we're going to see some great Quidditch, and we have been seeing some great Quidditch out here today.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a really good start here, and it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's going to be a lot of adjustments. What we've seen is really two smart, composed teams, and I think really the biggest difference has just been the passes and the shots kind of falling. When Toronto's had Michael Howard on the field and they've been making more incisive passes, we've seen things happen. But with him off the field, there's been some sloppy possessions. The 1, 2, or 3 possessions ago where the ball just kind of died on the ground and just fell right to a beater's feet, that's not the kind of possession you can waste in a huge MLQ series like this.
Yeah, I'd like to see them try and test sort of those hoops defenders around around Rochester's 2-2 zone more. We're not seeing a lot of shots in this situation, and we're seeing that Rochester is able to make those shots in this win. I'd like to see Toronto do more of the same.
Yeah. Definitely one of the younger quaffle lines here out of Rochester, so definitely an opportunity for Toronto to get something going. Coming down the field is Custer's here. Bunn, Wanless, and Howard alongside. High press by Stonish. Howard across to Bunn, Bunn in the corner, back up to Howard. High pressure by Tomlin, and another dart to Custers, but can't come down with it. And now Solly Gominiak looking to go the other way. McCoo would have to get there, and that's not the greatest shot attempt there by Gominiak. Think there were options there available to them. Think they kind of forced a little bit there.
Yeah, but kudos to Toronto for getting back and forcing them to do something, right?
Yeah.
We have seen so many teams where Gominiak just outspeeds them down the field, and they can't do anything about it. And Toronto didn't let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, what's great about this Toronto team is they're deep in their athletics. So, you're not going to tire this team out. And that was part of their strategy when we talked to their head coach on MLQ Replay a couple weeks ago against Cleveland, just kind of run and tire out their opposition. Custer's there just knocks the ball out of play. You hate to see Custer's only going up with one arm there.
Yeah, not great. I mean, we're seeing Hickmott come out to pressure here, and we're seeing Derek Taylor up here with the bludger for half at Toronto. Derek Taylor needs to be coming down to engage on Hickmott when she is out of the zone and away from her hoops.
Yeah, because it's definitely been, Rochester's been taking every inch Toronto gives it in terms of a press in the half court. And we've seen teams who've been able to execute a high press like that have really just confounded their opposition early in MLQ this season.
Yeah, and I mean, when Rochester has sort of this younger beating line out here, I mean, Hickmott, a veteran of the sport, but has not been beating her whole career. We need to see Toronto taking advantage of that.
Yep. Gominiak fakes a shot. Smithson not convinced, but bouncer to Stonish and picked up by Custers. And it's another possession where we just see a little bit of forcing there by Gominiak. When Rochester's been patient, the goals have been coming readily. Custers whips one across there. Smithson gets wrapped, dodges one there from Hickmott. Now needs to get around Van Buren. Goes up top to Howie. Howie looking for Custers, and it's that cut that's been there time and again. Really an interesting way to attack a 2-2 that's been just paying huge dividends for Toronto here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Rochester in this situation is sort of ball watching a lot of time. We both run college teams that run 2-2s, and we have screamed so many times about how you cannot get caught ball watching on that far side, and that's definitely what's happening in Rochester.
The top side, far side defender is so important for protecting those weak side passes. So Van Buren's going to whip one here into a 2-2, and again, you know, that's what we're talking about. Good zone breaking concepts versus less good. It's basically been since Kiefer and Giroso left the field. They were the composed ball carriers at the top of this offensive attack. And since they left the field, things have really cooled down for Rochester.
Yeah, but you know, shooters got to shoot. So sometimes we see it.
Wanless with the ball, swings it across to Howie. Howie down to Smithson. Wanless getting into space. Oh, a good cut, but the shot just wasn't quite there. Think that maybe there were 1 or 2 steps still available to get into a better shooting position. Just pull the trigger a little early. 8-5 the score here in game 1 of a decisive series between Toronto and Rochester for a chance basically to play for the North Division title and a guaranteed spot in MLQ Championship in August. A lot of stakes being played for here. Top 2 seed from the North at stake as well. Buren across to Ashkar. First time we've seen Ashkar in the game for a while since his initial shift. Behind Hikmat. Grow now in the game. Ashkar into the lane. Shot blocked down by Michael Howard. Howard falls on it. Not the keeper though. But his teammate Custers is able to fall on it. Deficit's currently 3, 8-5. Can they cut it to 2? Howard has been so dangerous from that right flank. Nobody's stepping to him yet. Only a beater. It's going to be Hikmat, and that forces the pass to Smithson. Oh, and it's Wanless coming across the zone. Can't come in, but Custers just takes it off Stonish and hits the shot. That is a pure effort play there from Custers, and they're going to sub out because they earned that substitution.
Board man gets paid, right? That offensive rebound allowed for that extra possession and that great shot there.
Yeah, because Stonish had complete position on Custers, but didn't box out, didn't get the body in front of him. Custers sneaks right around and puts through the mid-range shot. 8-6, a quick little 3-0 run here from Toronto that's getting them back into this game. Ashkar smartly not entering the offensive zone yet, so Ken asked the head ref for those hoops to go back up. It's a veteran move there from Ashkar. Ashkar bringing it up with a 2-goal lead here. Really need to find something on the offensive end. That's an exchange by Parkinson and Taylor, and that allows Ashkar to find Palpour on a nice incisive cut, 9-6. Bludger control is going to go to, it's going to go here to Toronto, and they just need to reset the quaffle here. Robert Ali, who just subbed into the game for the first time, had outrun the play and had to come back and reset it. More new players in the game here for Toronto. Robin Zhu making her debut for the game alongside Derek Taylor. Michael Howard, though, still in the game and with the ball.
I would expect Howard to be playing a lot of minutes this game.
Wanless gets around Girosa, trying to hit the lane. Beat before, Ali's going to fall on it. And now it's Howard into the lane. Howard doesn't zip one, sorry. Puts well over the head of Smithson. I wanted the zip. And now it goes across to Ali. And Ali gets beat. Girosa falls on it before Smithson can. The pass was there, just not quite executed on there by Toronto. Taylor gets beat. That's going to give Zhu a chance to get bludger control. Groh makes another hit here. Zhu is off broom. Parkinson's going to have to track down, and Taylor's not going to be able to chase her off the field because he's going to need to play defense here. Girosa has the ball and goes across to Palpour. Palpour on the wing back to Girosa. These are those veterans that we said have been doing a much better job of controlling the pace and the positioning for Rochester. Ashkar trying to get by Wanless. Slips out of the tackle. Nowhere to go, though, because Taylor closes down. High pass to Girosa, no damage done. 19 minutes here, 9-6 Rochester in game 1 of our series of the week. Melchior steps up, forces the pass across to Palpour. Callahan back in the game alongside Parkinson. And that's going to be a stall warning from head ref Chris Lecomte for the time that Palpour is taking it. Girosa's pass to Van Buren goes high. Howard's going to wrap Van Buren. Pass is picked down by Smithson. Good D there from Toronto to force the turnover.
And good patience by Toronto there not to get over aggressive and force the stall warning out and make Rochester act on that.
That said, Rochester had bludger control that whole possession, was not able to create anything with their bludgers to get their quaffle game moving. Wanless has the ball up top. You got to imagine that bludger control is going to be prioritized here by Toronto as we approach the 20-minute mark. Sherwood getting into the zone, misses a beat on Callanan. It's going to allow for a press opportunity for Parkinson. A big hit by Palpour, but no beater there to clean it up yet. I think we might be getting a foul on Palpour. Gonna have to wait for head ref Chris Lecomte to see what happens. You know, Sherwood kind of went in there and made that challenge. I never saw her partner. I'm not even sure where they were on the field, but it kind of, even if she successfully takes the trade there with Callanan, I'm not sure she has a way to get bludger control without a partner in the play.
Yeah, and right now we have Toronto with a beater right in their face, and their only beater is all the way in the back behind Rochester's hoops.
Right, it is Scherzer now who has the bludgers, bringing it in. Palpour does head to the box, assumingly a contact foul on the tackle. Wanless smartly going to use the MLQ rule to go back to the closest restrictor line, which is a lot less scary than where they were on the field. So Wanless is going to have a lot of open real estate. It's going to be up to Callanan to make a play here, but Melchior is going to be a passing option as well. It's really all going to come down to what Callanan can do. Wanless driving the lane. Over to Melchior, and great defense from Alyssa Girosa. Just get those hands up. I think it's going to be the 20-minute timeout. Big defense from Rochester on that play.
Even bigger, though, Kip Palpour still in the box for Rochester.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, we'll see if they try to kill that power play or how things are going to play out in the snitch on pitch period. I do assume these teams are going to go pretty aggressively for this snitch grab. Probably beater's going to be over there. And, you know, there's no reason that, you know, a player like Bassam Ashkar can't get into the lane here, even without the extra player. Going to be interesting to see what kind of offenses and defenses these teams play in these no-bludger situations.
Yeah, and I mean, the value here isn't necessarily that Palpour is going to be in the box as a chaser. It's Palpour as a seeker, right? If I was Rochester here and I'm most confident in Palpour as my seeker, I'm going to score an own goal real quickly, get Palpour out, get him subbed out, and get him in a yellow headband.
Of course, you know, Cody Kiefer has a long history in the seeker game as well. I assume he will be the one wearing the yellow headband as we come out of this timeout, since Palpour obviously cannot. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be time sensitive here, because we're gonna have to see whether Toronto can deliver right out the gates, get a catch, get themselves back into this game. The score is 9-6. It is set score, obviously 6 goals higher in MLQ, so we're going to be playing to 150 with a snitch grab being 35 points.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see some screens here in snitch on pitch, assuming all beaters go to the snitch. We need to see some people drawing the defenses and then taking that pass once the entire defense has looked their way.
Yeah. So, you know, talking about strategy and whatnot, if you want more content out of MLQ, we are running a Patreon this year. It's got a lot of great content on it. Cuts with Cupid, first episode released a player vlog that will be going on throughout the whole season. Highly recommend. It was great content. You can also get Set a Pick with Ryan Naraki and Jessica Markle on the Patreon. Lots and lots of content still to come here and there. Nick did a great breakdown from week 1, and we hope to add some more of those as the season goes along. We really appreciate your support. All of those proceeds go straight into our digital media team to keep improving our setups, to be able to keep giving you better and better streams, which we hope you're kind of starting to see the results of as we go into this season further and further. Speaking of top quality streams and series of the week, next week, Series of the Week takes us to the South Division for the first time, a series that is always a ton of fun between the San Antonio Soldados and the Austin Outlaws. 9 p.m. Eastern will be the start time, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Anytime we get to see Austin, anytime we get to see the likes of Miguel Esparza and Daniel Williams from that San Antonio team, we're always in for a treat. About to get started here after the 20-minute timeout. 9-6 the score with a set score of 150. Devin Sandin is going to be our snitch, a veteran of the sport from the local area. And Cody Kiefer is going to be running against Corey Smithson, obviously, as we mentioned, with Kit Palpour serving a penalty and unavailable.
Yeah, this is about to be very exciting.
I do have to imagine, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, that Devin Sand's probably going to use some running for a while. I don't think he's going to look for a lot of grapples with Cody Kiefer right off the bat.
I mean, years of experience, right? I think that matchup is definitely weighted in Kiefer's favor if they decide to grapple.
Yep. Melchior trying to wrap Ashkar. Ashkar gets around him, gets through Wanless. A flip pass is going to be tracked down by Hickmott, who's entering the quaffle game for the first time. Another big tackle by Melchior. Ball gets loose. I think this is going to be a foul on Melchior for that tackle on Hickmott.
I don't love that out of Ashkar, though. I mean, you can't be throwing the ball up and snitch on pitch, especially in a set score era.
Yeah, and we all know that Emily Hickmott would be happy to set some screens in that offensive set. So I think there's going to be no call on the play, or if the foul's coming, it's coming late.
Looks like no foul.
All right, so we're going to get started here. So far, all bludgers that we've seen have stayed in the beater game, and they're currently in the possession of Callanan and Gominiak. Misbeat there, might turns over bludger control. Joanne Lamb out running the field. She's going to have to chase down that loose ball. Ashkar's closing quickly on her. She gets around the corner, though, and now she's hitting the lane. She does need help. The shot's no good. Wanless picks it up, gets it over to Howard. Howard looking to add to his total, but he goes wide with his shot. Now it's Wanless. Really slow here from Rochester closing down. Of course, they are down a player. Palpour's now in the play. Wanless looking to drive. Oh, the dunk goes off the T-bar, and now Ashkar knocks down the pass. And Palpour back in the game comes up with it. Missed opportunities galore there from Toronto. But now they're going to get a big shot in the Seeker game. Smithson's shot gets behind. Can't go it. It's going to be a 50-50 shot. I'm not sure if either Seeker wants to commit first. It is going to be Toronto cleaning things up in the Seeker game. And Smithson has the grab. We are going to be all knotted up here in Rochester if the catch is good.
Yeah, and Rochester just lost control in the 15 seconds before that. But before that, we're absolutely dominating around the snitch.
Yeah, it was that throw we saw right at the beginning of that quaffle possession, not sure if it was in your frame, that allowed for Sherwood to go get bludger control. And from there, they were able to give Smithson some shots. And Smithson delivers in a big way. And now it is 1-6 here in Rochester. A fun little end game heating up in game one.
This is what we came up here for, Ethan, right? Absolutely. Great Quidditch all around. Though I don't love both teams' snitch on pitch strategies.
I was going to say, you say great Quidditch all around. That last Toronto possession left a lot to be desired. 4-on-3 with no bludgers.
I mean, we'll see if neither team seemed to have the best handle on snitch on pitch in that. We'll see if that comes back to bite them in games 2 and 3.
Yep. Palpour gets wrapped by Melchior, does get the ball out. It goes over to Pearl. Gominiak looking to make an attack on Scherzer. Scherzer can't make the catch. Gominiak's able to keep this bludger. Palpour into the lane. Palpour's shot gets knocked down by Howard. It will be off Howard if it goes out of play. So I believe it's going to be, it's going to be Rochester ball. Only a keeper can deflect the ball out of bounds and keep possession. Hickmott hitting the lane, finds Palpour. Big tackle by Melchior. And as long as that pileup stays that way, it's eventually going to be on the 10-second count, turned over to Toronto. So Melchior making the saving tackle there for Toronto.
Yeah, we love to see that physicality. We talked about Toronto bringing that physicality in their Cleveland series, and they have seemed to have woken up and realized that.
Yep. So this is going to be adjudicated by Chris Lecomte, just going to be a turnover to Toronto. In a pileup, in a team zone, it goes to the keeper after a 10-second count.
Yeah, much better offense on that second inbounds. Hickmott taking her space, making the whole team look at her, and passing to Palpour. Just a great hit by Melchior to clean it up.
Yeah. I mean, we're both very high on Hickmott as a chaser on this team. She does tend to beat more often. Howard gets across to Custers. Flirting with the midline there, but no reset used accidentally. Howard gets the ball back on the left side. Parkinson and Callanan both close in, which is going to leave a lot of space around the field. Dykstra gets it across to Bunn. Bunn releases, and that's just a mistake in the beating game for Rochester.
Great ball movement there by Toronto, though, to swing the ball around the zone, make the zone move, and find the open shot.
Yeah, and Bunn confident there. It was really, though, the swing player there, Sarah Dykstra, who made the big play there. One of the youngest players on this Toronto roster. Sorry, the youngest player on this Toronto roster.
Yeah, and Toronto, ever since that sort of opening segment where they weren't necessarily moving the ball and passing, now the ball is flying all over the place sharply.
Yeah. You know, back in my day, a few different colleges kind of supporting the kind of Toronto Quidditch scene. Now it's this Waterloo program that Michael Howard, the head coach of this team, also coaches, that is paying so many dividends for this program as they look to continue to develop and grow. So that's the first lead of the game for Toronto. They lead 105-90. Van Buren with the ball, looking to get by Dykstra. Fires one in the direction of Palpour, but it just floats out of play again. And it's that same thing. Anytime it's not Ashkar, Giroso, or Kiefer who is ball handling up top, things start to go a little awry for Rochester.
Yeah, I'm not loving these floated passes, these floating shots. We are seeing from Toronto, we're seeing the ball move around the zone to find the opening. Rochester's trying to go through the zone, and that's not how you do it.
Yep. So Michael Howard, who's probably played 15 minutes at this point in this game, definitely coaching from the field at this point and doing a good job of it. Gets it on the left side. Van Buren steps out. It's a long pass across to Bunn. Bunn goes up with one hand, can't come down with it, and then falls over. It's going to be a turnover. Nothing wrong with the idea, just not quite executed.
Yep. And both of us, one-handed catches. I mean, Leo Freed, whom you coach, you let get away with some one-handed catches, but other than that, we're pretty negative on it.
He's got big hands and he wears receiver gloves, okay? Kiefer now in the game. Kiefer, a huge part of the offense when this team was really rolling all cylinders. 3 goals to his name already. I think an assist, at least one of them as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Has the ball on the left wing. That's where he's been operating for most of the day. Lombardi's up top with him. Mitch Brown and Eveline Devestin on the other side, but it's just going to be another turnover here from Rochester.
Toronto with control for the first time in what feels like 3 or 4 minutes, too.
Yep. Howard drives the lane. Howard's shot goes high. And, for a while there, it was Howard who was doing so much of the offense. I think the problem, kind of the switch that turned, is when he started feeling like he had to do everything for the offense. He started forcing, and the possession stopped going as smoothly. And this is going to be a well-timed timeout from Rochester here, because things have definitely started to spiral a bit for them, and they're going to need to find a second gear in this game if they're going to come away with it.
Yeah, I would like to see them move the ball around. And when we saw them working at the beginning of this game, we saw passes around the edge to find those people in the back. And right now they're just trying to shoot it through the zone. And this Toronto team is big enough and lanky enough that they're just knocking them all down. Yeah,
a long Toronto team. They've started sitting back in a 2-2 zone more often, kind of absorbing more pressure. Rochester was going guns a-blazing against the mark defense, which is something we really thought might end up happening here. But, it's the zone defense that's definitely confounded them here and there. So we thank you again for joining us here for our series of the week 3 of MLQ. Season's already flying by. I mean, we're playing some really big series here already with massive postseason implications. Of course, our championships will be back in Howard County in August. We hope to see you all there. We have 2 awesome days of MLQ Championship Quidditch, and then on Monday we have Take Back the Pitch and our awesome fantasy tournament as well. So we really hope you come out. It's a really great weekend. It's always a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that facility is beautiful and definitely facilitates some great Quidditch.
Nick just likes it because the press box is air conditioned. Don't let him lie to you.
Don't need it today, though, Ethan, right?
No.
It's beautiful out here in Rochester.
Yep. All right, so we're going to get going again here. 105-90 the score. We're playing to 150 here in game 1. Kiefer with the ball. One thing we haven't even talked about is, Toronto got to get some of the antsiness out by playing 3 games before the series. Rochester, this is their intro to the series. That said, they do have the advantage of playing at home, Toronto making the international travel for this one. Kiefer coming down the left side. It's a kick beat there from Hickmott on McCoo.
Doesn't result in turnover of control, though.
Nope. Wanless is up top. Lombardi swings over to Brown. Brown gets by Wanless into the lane, fakes Kuster's high, but Kuster's able to get the wrap. Brown still on his feet, though, gets it to Kiefer. Kiefer looking for his 4th and forces it through. We're all knotted up. 105-100, first to 5.
Yeah, and a great catch by Hickmott on the far side there when McCoo went to engage with her in order to make sure that the Bludgers weren't able to get back into play.
Yep. So Kiefer with his 4th of the 10 goals here scored by Rochester so far. Custer's bringing the ball down. Bunn on his right. Latorsai back in the game. And Wanless the 4th chaser. We're getting some beater substitutions, but Rochester's going to take advantage to press off of that. Hickmott way up the pitch. Gominiak gets a wrap. I think possibly a call. I think Gominiak might have wrapped a little bit high there.
Yeah, and unfortunate. I mean, the balls are rolling here, but when they're rolling that far off pitch, your beaters need to sprint to get them and get back into play. And you as a chaser or quaffle player need to be aware of that and take your time moving up the pitch and not allow for those press opportunities.
Yeah, and there's definitely that's the kind of sloppiness we've seen a little bit more from Toronto than I think we have from Rochester. Just some really wasted possessions. I think they may get bailed out by the foul call here on this one. But, you know, you have to be communicating. If you're beater subbing, you need to slowly bring the ball up the field. And their chasers got so far ahead. And we've seen Rochester's willingness to press every single time they've had the opportunity. Stoppage here just to check on Matt Bunn, who is the recipient of that tackle from Gminiak. AT just looking him over, just going to help him off the field here. 105, 100 the score. I feel like a timeout that's going to kind of work to both teams' favors. I think some things really did need to be discussed strategically on both sides of the ball here in such a high-pressure situation. We've talked so much about the season about how in endgame everything tightens up and the opportunities become harder and harder. And we'll see who can make the most of this endgame.
Yeah, and I think that using a timeout here is very valuable, especially with a younger team such as Rochester that continues to invest in their youth. You do need to take the time and set up some opportunities in order to close out these games.
So it is going to be a foul on Gminiak for the tackle on Bunn. Bunn over the sideline. Just getting checked out. So we're going to see Levi Medeiros back in the game. Going to have possession of the quaffle. No, sorry, the quaffle is actually going to be with Custers. Custers trying to get by Lombardi, gets wrapped up. Bludgers are going to be in the hands of the Toronto Beaters. Scherzer has tried a 1.5 a few times this game. We'll see if he tries to run another one here. Beats out Hickmott. Pass goes to the edge there. It's going to be Latorsai with the ball. Latorsai, given all the space in the world, not stepping forward with it, though. Just ends up going back up to Custers. Medeiros, the one all the way behind. Wanless with the ball. Swings it across. Latorsai tries to shoot. Kiefer knocks it down. And it's going to be Lombardi falling on it. Big defense there from Rochester.
Yeah, and Lombardi really all over that play, harassing up top, forcing the passes out to the wing, and then covering up the deflection at the end there.
Yep. Veteran of the Syracuse program that Mitch Vargas is also a veteran of. Bludgers going awry. Kiefer looking to hit the lane, finally gets taken down, but Mitch Brown has the ball now. And Mitch Brown finishes. And it's just that physicality edge that has allowed Rochester to get goals when the more complicated goals just aren't falling on either side of the ball. It's going to be bludger control as well for Rochester. Emily Hickmott able to hold it down as Callanan keeps Scherzer out of the play. 1:10-105 now. Ball goes over the Smithson. Smithson tracks it down on the ground, swings it back to Wanless. A high pressure there by Gminiak forces the pass across to Custers. Custers fakes a handoff. Lombardi pressuring high. Scherzer just coming back into the play now alongside Kahane in the beater game for Toronto. Callanan and Hickmott holding bludger control. Custers a long pass to Medeiros. Kahane and Hickmott exchange. Medeiros considering a drive, just ends up popping it out behind. That is going to be bludger control to Toronto. A big exchange win there by Kahane. Wanless in no rush here. It's going to be a handoff to Custers and then back to Wanless. Wanless behind, across to Smithson. Smithson has a shooting opportunity. It goes off the edge of the hoop. Gminiak's considering running. There are going to be beaters back in the play. Gets a step on Wanless, gets all the way behind. Shot is good. A pure effort play there out of Gminiak, and the lead stretches to 2.
Yeah, and Gminiak did a great job there shielding from the beaters with the Toronto player on the run there in order to get towards the hoops.
Yep.
I'd really like to see some tap beats, as we see a tap beat, some tap beats synchronized here. Toronto is able to move the ball, but they're moving the ball to non-dangerous spots.
Howard back in the game. Most of the offense has flowed through him. Gets a long one to Smithson. Smithson gets around Kiefer, has a chance to hit the hole. Shot goes low. And it's going to be a loose ball on the ground that Gminiak again is going to fall on. It's the effort play. Slows it down. Toronto also loses bludger control in the scrum. Scherzer subbing out here, I believe, for Taylor. Taylor, who went out earlier with a hand injury. Good to see him back in the game. Kiefer bringing the ball down. The Toronto shots have not fallen on the last few possessions. That's been a big part of the difference. Jack Mosley in the game has some space, drives in, eats a tackle up top to Kiefer. Kiefer trying to get through the zone across to Mitch Brown, and Custers comes flying out of nowhere. A huge stop from the keeper. It's going to be a keeper ball. It's going to be a Mitch Brown foul, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this game has been a tale of shots, right? When Rochester's weren't falling, Toronto was able to come back in the game, and now Toronto's aren't falling, and Rochester's pulling away with it.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a frustration play there out of Brown after the missed shot because obviously keeper had full possession of the ball. Can't keep that going. You're going to end up playing down a player.
I mean, great play by Custer there to go out and pressure Mosley to pass the ball and then come flying back into the zone to deflect the shot.
Yeah, pure hustle from a player who's played a lot of minutes in this game already. Toronto with the ball really needs a goal here.
And there's a swat.
High press, but eventually Mosley does have to settle it back down. A nice pass across to Howard. Oh, no,
there was a swat there from Custer. The question is, was it an attempt to swat it off pitch? And if so, that'll be a blue card.
Yep, so that's going to be the call. Right now, any swat has a risk of going off pitch at this point is the tricky part for sure. Wait for all the balls to be dealt out. The bludger, I think, will move to the other side. Parkinson would happily take bludger control here.
Yeah. I mean, Rochester has really been functioning when they have bludger control.
Yep.
And the fact is that it's been a tale of bludger control and a tale of falling shots, right? And if you have one of those two things going for you, chances are you're doing pretty well.
Yep. So Quaffle does stay with Toronto. Taylor and Kahane will have to try to get bludger control back. Smithson has the ball. Obviously, Toronto wants to kill his power play, and with time not being a factor, I expect a slow offense here. It's Joanne Lamb behind, and Smithson and Howard up top. It's going to be a high press from Callanan, trying to make that not an option here. I imagine the stall warning might come out soon. Smithson not really. It's a high press here from Callanan, doing a great job. Now the pass is going to go across to Howard. Howard's going to have a lot of room and might have Joanne Lamb. Zips one through, but Ashkar's hands are too quick, and now it's a fast break the other way. Mosley looking to lead the break, trying to get by Howard. The wrap is successful, and the pass is knocked down by Custers, who just came in the game, and more effort from Custers there. Knocks the ball out of the play. Custers' defense is hanging Toronto in this game right now.
Yeah, that was a unique way to do it, right? Rather than going for the ball, just reset it, get your defense set up. Toronto's defense has been working this game when it is set up. Rochester's transition goals are where they're scoring.
For sure. So Girosso back in the game with the ball on the left side. Joanne Lamb steps out to her. Still somewhat of his own. Mosley has a lot of space here. Custer's going to play this one. It's passed across to Brown. Taylor tracks in, beats, and I think the shot probably went through, and it's just a question of the beat before. Ashkar has the ball regardless, so Rochester's going to be able to hold on to their possession.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what comes out of here. I feel like the beat was definitely there, but if they call it good, they call it good.
It's beat before, so now Ashkar has a chance to follow up. Mitch Brown is beat out of this play, so it won't be a passing option. Mosley potentially a passing option on the far side.
Groh going to come in from the back end, Toronto's back line here with the bludger too to maybe make for some interesting plays.
Ashkar up against Joanne Lamb. Way back former Emerson program player. It's a floater to Mosley. Mosley composes himself, gets around Howard, puts it through, and now Rochester is 2 goals away from their first win of the season. Ashkar looking to press high. Howard is going to sub out of this game. Melchior back in it. Toronto really needs a goal here. Hasn't done much offensively since the snitch grab. Just 1 goal. Goes behind to Smithson. Smithson, no quick step. Smithson didn't even get Ashkar out of the air, but then chooses not to go forward. Ashkar comes back in, makes the tackle. That was a little bit of indecision there from Smithson.
Yeah, I'd love to see some tap beats here from the Toronto beater, especially with that high pressure. You want to force the Rochester beaters to make a decision, and right now they're just not making them.
Yeah, it's an absolute must-stop here from Toronto. Only 2 goals to work with defensively at this point. Robin Zhu subbing into the beater game. Custers is playing up top now. It's a block there from Taylor on a beat from Brady Groh. Smithson beat out of the play. Ashkar looking to hit the lane. Floater gets knocked down. Joanne Lamb falls on it. Groh considered for a second, the idea of trying to. Oh, it's Ashkar who might cost his team bludger control completely incidentally. Aaron Parkinson had no idea he was there, as we now see just an open tackle hit on Smithson, but now the ball's just going to fall to Kiefer. It's absolute madness on the pitch right now. Kiefer's going to end up using his reset. Melchior's injured. A crazy, crazy play there all around.
Yeah, and I mean, that all started with, if we want to call it starting with, Ashkar on both ends of the pitch, right? The sort of lazy float pass to try and find a teammate, and then coming back here and blocking off his own beater from retaining control.
But then it's that high press again from Rochester that kept things from getting too dangerous. I believe it was Mosley who made the tackle on Melchior, way even short of half field, took any opportunity of a fast break out of the play. The ball ends up getting loose, and Rochester just ends up walking away with quaffle control again. And that's been the difference in this game. It's just the sheer number of possessions each team has gotten, just because Toronto has, wasted some before they've ever began. So Robert Ali is going to come into the game for Melchior, and the ball is, I believe, in the hands of
Giro. So it's in between her feet right now. She's holding. If you let these balls go, they're gone.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I had the wrong angle. I apologize. Groh and Parkinson looking to be aggressive here. A big tackle there on Taylor, and now that's going to force Robin Zhu to make a throw. It's going to be a no-budget situation, but again, a floater from Ashkar goes nothing, and Ali going the other way. Look at a fast break. Ashkar's going to be the one who's got to get in front of him. Ali just putting a speed on him. It gets all the way around the corner, and it's a loose ball there from Ashkar. A big tackle there defensively, but you got to like the hustle from Ali there. And it's something we've talked about. Sometimes your third stringers are the players who at the end of a game are the ones who have the energy to make the big plays.
Yeah, and that speed there kind of made Ashkar look silly at the half court, but great cleanup by Ashkar at the end there.
Girasso with the ball down the right side here. Tomlin now in the game alongside Fordham. Does exchange beat. Now Taylor's going to be called clear, but it's going to be a no-budget situation. Kiefer looking to get in the zone, shoots, fires, good. Another goal out of Kiefer. That is 5, and it is now game point for Rochester. They have dominated this endgame period. And this is something we saw from Toronto even against Cleveland. I believe it was game 1 and maybe also in game 2, where Cleveland outscored Toronto in the snitch on pitch period. It just hasn't been their strength this season. Dykstra back into the game now for Toronto. Custers has the ball. Budget control is kept here with Rochester. A zipped pass, but right into a huge tackle here from Purell. And he's just going to come up with it off of the beat. And now they're looking to break to end the game. Purell come down with Tomlin in front of him. Big beat on Taylor. Forces the no-budget situation. Dykstra with the wrap. A bouncer goes behind to I believe that was Ben Stonish. And Stonish's shot goes high. And it is going to be Toronto ball. So Toronto lives to fight another possession. Taylor bringing it up. Still budget control with Tomlin and Fordham. Two played for years together for the University of Rochester.
Good to see Bunn back in there too.
Yep. Wanos the ball on the left side. Kahane in the game here again as well alongside Taylor. A big beat there for Fordham. Taylor's not able to turn that into budget control though. Or even really an exchange. Fake handoff there. Wanless gets it down across to Alley. Alley down to Howard. Howard, something like a pass or a shot. It's just going to be, no, it's not even going to be a reset. It's going to go all the way across the hard boundary.
Yeah, and these Toronto beaters aren't working with their quaffle players to create engage opportunities. Rochester is giving it to them there by letting them take beats out wide, and they're not taking advantage of it.
So Stonish, another chance to end the game here. Kiefer with the ball. It'd be a half dozen goals for Kiefer if he could get the game winner here at the end of game 1. He's got budget control to work with. Beaters being beat out. Kiefer zips one. He wanted it a little too badly there. Wanless needs to track this down before it gets out of play and does so. Once again, Toronto's able to hold strong on game point. Gaminiak back in the game, pressing high on Alley.
And that's tackling a keeper in the zone, I think.
Yep. That's a second or third time I believe Rochester's been called on this in this game. I'm not sure what the early call on Ashkar was.
Oh, I'm not sure here.
Bunn with the ball. Over to Alley. Alley down to Wanless. Wanless across. Oh, Bunn can't come up with it. We're going to get a stoppage. Conversation being had here between the AR and head ref Crystal Comp. And that is going to be a card. I think it's going to come against Adam Fordham. So that's going to be a big opportunity that Toronto absolutely has to take advantage of here, a beater power play.
Yeah, for sure. I would expect them to look to press here and force the issue.
Possibly it'll come with a quaffle turnover as well. No, I don't think it's going to. I don't know. We'll see what Crystal Comp has to say. Yep.
There's the turnover.
I think it's going to be Bunn who's going to have an opportunity here. Pirel's in front of him. Kahane might be able to get a tap beat, or Bunn might just be able to get him. Tomlin has a bludger, but is all the way at the hard boundary behind the hoops.
If there was a time for Toronto to hit a shot, it's now.
Wanless is not a passing option, beat out of the play. Howard is a couple steps behind Bunn, as is Alley.
And we've seen that speed from Ali before. Let's see if they shoot down the field to be a passing option.
Bunn is not going to rush it. I mean, I guess when you do have the beater power play, no reason not to set up a good opportunity. But we need to see some tap beats for that to happen here.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to go through a wall with Kiefer in it either.
Bunn over to Alley. Alley back to Bunn. Bunn zips one through. No, it's going to be called no good. Kahane beats Tomlin. But again, a little bit too forced there, I think.
Yeah, especially we've seen now, right, that weak side option is open against this Rochester 2-2 zone, and there was a weak side cutter, and there was not even a look put in that direction.
Yeah, and now the first of the two. I forgot that Gominiak was still. That was a 6-on-4 that Toronto was not able to convert on. Now about Poor in the lane. Did that get a beat? Yeah, it is a beat. So now Howard's going to look to, I assume, fast break the other way. While they still have this beater power play. Gominiak is beat. Tomlin does a smart play there to get Kahane's ball, which is going to allow him to play defense. And it's called clear on Bunn, but Bunn had dropped the ball. An absolutely great play there by Tomlin there. Taylor in the game. Loose balls everywhere. Gominiak with the ball on the left. Looking for the shot for the game. It's a stoppage.
I'm not entirely sure that went in. If it was a shot, it was on this far side hoop, and we'll see what happens here. We don't necessarily have that angle. The goal is good.
The goal is good. So after a snitch grab from Toronto made it 95-90, and then a goal made it 105-90, 6 straight goals rattled off by Rochester, and
Rochester continued to dominate after the snitch on pitch catch happened. Sorry, our set got a little bit blown over in the wind. Ethan Sturm is coming back to you now.
Yeah, 6 straight goals to finish that one out. Nick, what kind of went wrong for Toronto down the stretch there?
Shots stopped falling, but that often happens when you start forcing shots, and we saw a lot of forced shots there. The runs early came when they started finding those weak side cutters and continued to look for sharp, strong passes, and we saw a lot of floated passes and a lot of attempts to go against the strong parts of Rochester's zone.
Yeah, additionally, there's just no coherence between the beater games and the quaffle games, so when Rochester was really able to turn every bludger control offense into points, we didn't see that much from Toronto. A lot of wasted.
Mhm.
I think most highlighted by the failure to score on a 6-on-4. You have to score on a 6-on-4 with a bludger out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact is that if you're not going to tap eat the point defenders, that press is going to be valuable all day long.
Yep. All right, so we are going to call it here for game one. We'll be back with game two. Rochester 150 to 105 takes game one. Chance to clinch the series here in game two. We'll be back in a few. And welcome back to our series of the week here in Rochester, New York. The Rochester Whiteout have taken the first game of the series, putting them one away from what would be a massive, massive win here for them. Nick, what kind of adjustments are you expecting to see? We've already talked about the Toronto ones, so I want to hear about the Rochester ones. What do you think they could be doing a little bit better coming in this game too?
Stop trying to force the ball through the middle of the zone and work your way around the zone and force the zone to move. When you force the zone to move, good things happen. And at the beginning here, I expect to see them continue. They played a lot of depth in that game, and I expect to see them continue to do that, but I expect it to be with more of a ball movement orientation in mind rather than trying to force passes through.
Yeah, I wonder if it's, kind of looking at not, necessarily lines, but, it seems like all the way through their depth, they have people who can play in certain positions, and it's just kind of that composure top ball handler positions where it seems like maybe they're a little bit limited, and maybe if they spread those players out a bit more, they could have a more consistent level of success on the offensive end. Yeah,
and I'd really also like to see their beaters continue to force the issue, right? And until Toronto makes you change, don't change.
Right.
It's an easily punishable strategy, but if Toronto's not going to continue to punish it, don't change it.
Yeah, obviously we've talked a lot. We'd love to see a bit more in the way of tap beats, from Toronto on the offensive end. Start freeing up their chasers to operate because they're just making it so complicated for their chasers to operate successfully that even when the opportunities are there, it's very small windows where they're really trying to zip passes. And compared to what Rochester has to do to get goals, it's just a lot more complicated.
Yeah, and I think you said from Toronto, my request is the league in general. I think this year especially we're seeing an underutilization of tap beats, and that may come from the USQ season where green up top was the dominant factor, but so far that's not been the case in MLQ, and we got to see teams utilize that and take advantage of that.
And of course, as you might be able to hear in our speakers, the wind is even picking up a bit from where it was at game one, so those passes are going to have to stay sharp, and it's going to be interesting to see how these teams adjust to the conditions. We're about to throw over to the pitch, and we're going to get starting lineups here. Starting on the Toronto side, Custer's going to get the start at keeper. It's going to be Smithson and McCoo running up in the beater game, though I expect at least Smithson to sub out, mainly play as a quaffle player throughout the game. Joanne Lamb, Michael Howard getting the start alongside Wanless on Toronto. For Rochester, Vasim Ashkar is going to be the starting keeper. Groh and Kiefer are going to be running brooms up, and again, probably sub-outs there as well. Kiefer did not play much beater in that game. And then the chasers are Gominiak, Palpour, and Giroso.
Yeah, and Michael Howard being inserted into the starting lineup is a big change for Toronto. He was a big force through the first game, and I expect that he, as coach, is saying, I'm not letting this game 2 get away from me without me on the field.
Yeah, only the 2 goals, but it was his ball movement that was so important. A couple finds of Custer's as well. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how this team can adjust here going into the next game. I think we're about to get underway. Referees are going to have to hold these balls down with the wind coming. Very physical affair in game 1 as well. We'll see if that keeps up as the day goes on. You start picking up a few bruises, a few knocks, and, the physicality starts dropping us sometimes a little bit, and we'll see who can kind of be the team who pushes that through 3 games. All right, we're about to get brooms up here from Chris LeComte, our head ref. So running up here, I believe it's going to be Palpour, and I think Wanless this time. It was Custer's who ran the first time around. There's going to be Howard against Palpour, and it's going to be a kind of even scrum here. We'll see what beater gets there first. Smithson chooses to take a trade on Kiefer, so it's just a pile up in the middle of the field. McCoo still hasn't really seen it, I don't think. Grow. Nobody wants to break up this pile up. Finally, McCoo does it. He eats a beat for his trouble, and Ashkar comes away with the ball. Ashkar now has a chance to drive on Wanless, gets into the lane, beats go awry, they can't go in, and Ashkar scores. Rochester kind of wins the battle of wills there. And so many teams use just athletes to run brooms up, you could tell that some people didn't really know how to beat on that initial possession. Howard coming down, Gominiak gets tap beat out, it's exactly what we were looking for. Custer's now going to be able to hit the lane, nobody stands in his way, and how simple was that for Toronto? They even it up, and it's on the back of one simple little tap beat from Smithson.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we saw. Tap beat, tap beat, tap beats, right? That's what we want to see. Make your life easy.
Tomlin now in the game has to chase down a loose bludger, but bludger controls with Smithson and McCoo. Lamb is going to step up to Ashkar. And it's going to be a pass outside to Mosley. Mosley tries to go by Lamb, but now they're just playing pass back and forth between Mosley and Ashkar. This is the composure we were expecting from Rochester. A screen there from Palpour and a beautiful cut and run off of it. He can't get the pass, but it's going to be Ashkar who comes with the pass, puts it through. An early brace for Ashkar. It's a 2-1 lead for Rochester.
Yeah, and that was a much better showing from Ashkar. None of this floaty nonsense. A good sharp push pass through the top hoop, which is a vulnerable spot in a 2-2 because it requires the two to communicate.
McCoo's going to sub out for Kahane here. Bludger control's been consistently with Toronto, but now can they ratchet up the defense a bit and also keep the scoring going? Kahane is walking down. I think she might do a weak side beat on Gminiak to free things up, but no, it's just going to be a pass behind to Wanless. Wanless drives in hard, goes around to Lamb. It's Jack Mosley closing hard down on Lamb. Ball's loose and gets back to Wanless. Good play there. It's a long pass across to Howard. Howard is going to corral it. Gminiak's right on his tail. Passes out. Can Palpour get there first? Palpour's beat. Loose ball picked up by Custers. Screen from Lamb. No, Gminiak just beats it out there, but Smithson is going to be able to beat Gminiak, and Custers stays in bounds. Walking into the play now, Tomlin considers a trade with Smithson, ends up with a block that's going to be bludger control. A beautiful, though, back and forth. No, it's called no good. And we're going to get a stoppage for the hit on Custers. Honestly, beautiful stuff from Toronto. Unfortunate that the result's not a goal.
Yeah, I mean, that looked great. We're seeing ball movement. We're seeing the ball move back and forth. The fact is that as long as you continue to make the zone move, and that's what happens there, you're going to find opportunities.
Yeah, and it was just as simple as a 1-2 back and forth out into the left wing. Custers, who already had one goal there, almost gets his second. He is the player who's gone down hard there. He's going to take a second to get up. Just being helped off the field by his teammates. Legs looking all right. Just going to get checked out by the athletic trainer. Hopefully we'll be able to see him get back into the game. We'll see who his sub is. It's going to be Ali. He is holding the knee, so we'll have to see how that all plays out. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in before the end of the series.
Yeah, Custers has been a big part of the offense for Toronto, and I'd like to see who steps up here in his stead.
Yep. So ball going to go the other way here. Mosley has the ball. Just going to slow it down. Tomlin tries to trade a beat on Kahane. Kahane throws back effectively, though, to keep bludger control. Now it's Mosley, and it's going to be a high beat there with Smithson. It's going to be Wanless's ball. Looking to run. Wanless has Lamb out in front of everyone. Just going to take it themselves. Gminiak, the hard hit, but Wanless finishes through. Getting up slowly, but does tie the game at 20.
Yeah, and that all started with the aggressive beat by Tomlin there, which led to their bludger being behind hoops, and that makes for some difficult plays when you're on offense.
And this Rochester team is hitting hard here in game 2. And Toronto might have to just, get the ball out a second or so earlier. Giroso across back behind to Palpour. A big hit there by Ali. Now it's Howard who's playing D. And it's going to be Toronto's able to break it up. It's Sinan Cater, who we didn't see a lot of in game 1, who gets a hand in there to break up the pass. Kahane, though, never sees Hickmott there. And this could be a problem for Rochester. Pass all the way across to Ali. Ali over to Dykstra. A high tackle there from Mosley. Gets it back to Ali. No, it's a loose ball picked up. Scherzer now in the game with Emma Sherwood. And bludger control, though, is with the pair of Tomlin and Hickmott. Off that beat by Hickmott on the last possession.
Yeah, and that just comes from trying to push things, not necessarily looking where the beaters are. But so far, this Toronto beater core has been dominant. Let's see if they can return it without bludger control.
Ashkar here trying to get by Cater. Cater got a good wrap on him. Nowhere to go. We might be getting a call, though. So Cater's headed to the box with a contact foul here. So it's going to be a power play here. No, Ashkar is also getting a penalty here. So my guess is that Cater's wrap was illegal. Ashkar got frustrated, got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for their troubles.
Yeah, we've seen these teams going back and forth. Chris LeCompte is doing a great job staying on top of things and keeping it safe.
Yeah, it's been a very scrappy game. I mean, we've been talking about the physicality and the hits. It is going to be Mosley's ball. So now 3-on-3 in the Quaffle game. Dykstra is going to be the first to meet him. It is bludgeon control with Rochester. Scherzer trying to keep Hickmott out of his teammate's face. No, not to be. It's going to be a no bludgeon situation. And Mosley goes right over the top of Howard, delivers Rochester back the lead 3-2. That does mean, though, it'll be about a 50-second quaffle power play here for Toronto. But really, Tomlin and Hickmott are dominating the beater game right now. Oh, Alley tries to force a pass. It's just too easy for Palport to go the other way. Probably going to have to slow it down, though, with the player disadvantage. And it's those wasted possessions, the ones that never get started for Toronto, that have been such a problem for them. Oh, Scherzer takes the ball right out of Tomlin's hand. What a nice play by Scherzer. It is Hickmott who's going to clean that up. Sorry, no, it's going to be Parkinson who just subbed into the game. So it is going to say no harm, no foul there for Rochester. They're able to keep killing off this penalty, keep bludgeon control. Cater steps high. A high pass there. Oh, and it's Mosley who bobbles that one. But getting there first is going to be Giroso. She's able to keep the possession alive. And then we get a stoppage.
Another offensive rebound for Rochester here. Rochester getting those second looks, and that's definitely what's helping to keep them pushing this game's pace.
Yeah, I mean, when Toronto's been at its best, it's when they've been winning the 50-50 balls. And when Rochester's been at its best, it's kind of the same thing. So that's going to be Matthew Bunn headed to the box for his tackle on Giroso. Now power play going the other way. Palport fakes once, fakes twice, puts it through the middle hoop. 40-20 Rochester. And another really nice shift that has been from Tomlin, who had a great shift, I think, to end game one, and is doing a nice job out here again in game two.
Yeah, it was definitely a point of weakness at the beginning of the game, but has come on strong, sort of waking up and getting back into form.
Medeiros into the game now and bring it down the left side. Lombardi trying to get in front of him. Tomlin's going to have to help as well. Two defenders way out, and it's a weak pass that Mitch Vargas is able to get on top of. And it's Toronto just putting themselves in these dangerous situations and not being able to play their way out of them.
Great job there by Rochester continuing to keep bludgeon control. As long as Toronto has bludgeon control, they're getting the looks they want, but ever since they turned it over at that 4.5-minute-ish mark, they haven't really seen the same opportunities.
Brady Grow now in the game for Tomlin. A high pass there. Can't be knocked down by Lombardi. He's able to get control, though. Does get by Alley. Bunn steps out. It's a great pass. Lombardi rips one across to Giroso. She finishes 5-2. Rochester is putting this one away early. And we're seeing Toronto kind of forced into their depth by a few of the knocks they picked up early in game two. You know, not sure when we're going to see Wanless again. Oh, another sloppy pass. And Grow just has the beat. Things getting out of hand here. Lombardi is able to get in the lane. Derek Taylor's beat goes to nobody. Lombardi driving, gets it back to Giroso. Giroso across to Mitch Vargas. Vargas scores over Dykstra, 6-2. And that, you knew the timeout was coming. It had to come because Rochester was just taking it to Toronto for the last few minutes.
Yeah, and we talked about this Toronto beater core. That was one of their strengths in that first series against Cleveland. They haven't shown up the last few minutes. They will need to show up and push the pace here for this team to get back in it.
Yeah, and it's been Taylor and Kahane for the last couple minutes as well who have not been able to get it done. And we even saw in game one, I feel like Taylor's just gotten frustrated in this series, you know, when things haven't gone his way. A player who, you know, sometimes, you know, when you're a really good beater and things tend to go your way, it can be a little bit tough when things aren't going your way for an extended period of time. And Toronto needs to figure something out. But the thing isn't just, it's not just a beater game issue. It's these quaffle players who are just throwing possessions away way too quickly.
Yeah, they were most effective when they were spread out, moving the ball, letting that Rochester zone sort of shift, and then they would find the openings. And right now they're a little bit too compact. We're seeing a lot of sharp passes up at the top here. And that we talk about early on where that sort of late string brings the energy, brings that depth. But sometimes it also brings mistakes, right? And Toronto, having suffered some tough injuries now, needs to get some of those more consistent first-line players that they still have back in and calm them down and get them back in this game.
Yeah, but you say, you know, those players, but, you know, I'm not sure Melchior is coming back into the game at this point. I'm not sure that Wanless is either, and I'm not sure that Custers is. And if that's the case, it's going to be a tall hill for some of these younger Toronto players to climb.
Yeah, but I'd like to see Michael Howard back in. I know you and I both talk about the value of a non-playing coach, but Toronto needs their playing coach on the field right now.
For sure. And he obviously a big difference maker in game one as well. 6-2 the score here early in game two. Really dominant play from Rochester. We're about to get underway. Chris Lecomte, our head ref. Allie has the ball. Currently taking the keeping minutes for Toronto. Dykstra, Medeiros, and Bunn, the rest of the quaffle line. And it's Taylor and Kahane still looking to get back bludger control, which they've struggled so much to do, currently against the pair of Parkinson and Groh, both out of the RIT program. Allie all the way back to Medeiros. Medeiros really walking a tightrope. Gets it over to Allie, though. Allie tries to throw one through to Dykstra, can't get it there. It's just knocked down by Kiefer. No bludger. Kiefer looking to run all the way. Bunn's going to be the first one to try to stop him. Goes over to Vargas. Allie now has to step up. And Dykstra, Vargas is just still going. Did that beat hit? No, it did not. It's Vargas again. It's 7-2 Rochester. No answers in the bludger game and no answers physically for Mitch Vargas.
Great jump step by Vargas there to avoid the contact and continue to finish.
And you can see just the confidence in Rochester. Joe Lombardi and Mitch Vargas are meeting so far above mid-pitch at this point, not even with beater support.
You would think Toronto, given that they did this a couple weeks ago to Cleveland, would be prepared for such a high press.
Right. Oh, and miscommunication from Toronto is another turnover. Medeiros throws it in between Bunn and Latorsai. They both thought the other one was going to come up with it. In the end, only the sideline did. Groh and Parkinson still with bludger control, looking to create another no bludger for their quaffle players. Vargas has the ball. It's a missed tap beat there on Sherwood. Ball over to Vargas. Vargas in the lane. Pass across. Up top, Lombardi tries a bit of a volleyball on that from Diveston, but to no avail. And I think we're going to get a foul for a wrap from behind. So finally, at least, Toronto's able to get a stop, right the ship a little bit, but now they need to find something on the offensive end, and they need to stop wasting possessions.
They have a power play now, though, and they have looked at their best when we're seeing those off-ball cuts come. And what easier way to get that than an unmarked chaser?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see when, when we're talking about those cuts, when we do see Michael Howard back into the game. It's going to be Bunn with the ball. Latorsai leading the charge, but things are going to slow down. Medeiros has the ball. Groh is going all the way back. It is going to be finally bludger control. A 1.5 here run by Derek Taylor. And it's a shot there by Medeiros. It was briefly called good. So it's going to be, the bludger's going to end up all the way back behind. It is going to be Latorsai who gets it. Weird play all around as the shot from Medeiros, which was quite wide, was briefly called good. Joanne Lamb now with the ball. Joanne Lamb looking to hit the hole. Puts the shot. No, it just goes just wide. Can it be tracked down? Medeiros keeps it in bounds. Goes right around the defender. Into the lane. Gets it over to Lamb. Lamb with the one-handed knockdown. Shot is going to be either goaltended or just through. Lamb gets Toronto on the board. Much better passing, as you said, against that power play.
Lamb taking her space there, too. Lamb really forced the issue.
Oh, and that's going to be now we're going to start running into some real problems for Rochester. Brady Groh is headed to the box for a blindside tackle on Derek Taylor.
Yep. This could potentially be a quaffle turnover back, and if Toronto is able to get 2 goals out of this quick power play situation, that would be great.
Yep.
One just, of course, coming from the Lamb goaltend.
Yep. But yeah, you're right. Joanne Lamb, both times, missing the first shot, obviously, but just such confidence to take her space there. And you'll have to see that kind of thing.
Yeah, Lamb of the old Emerson programs. We did see a little bit of the old Emerson programs there with the knockdown one-handed catch.
I remember catching quaffles like that back in the day.
But continues to take her space and really force the issue there, and we love to see it here from the booth.
Yep. So thank you so much for joining us here for our series of the week out in Rochester between the Rochester Whiteout and the Toronto Raiders. We've got one more series for you still this evening, 7 p.m. Eastern on the New York Titans Facebook page. Titans taking on the Ottawa Black Bears. Our first time seeing our other Canadian team back after COVID had kind of separated international play, unfortunately, there for the 2021 season. We weren't able to have them. So happy to have both teams back. Next week, series of the week, it's a huge one. Austin Outlaws, San Antonio Soldados. You know all the history. You know what it means. Probably the South Division up for grabs there. 9 p.m. Eastern. We won't be there, obviously, but we've got some great people over on the call, and we'll definitely be watching from home. Or no, we'll be running a game at the same time. So maybe Nick will be watching while he's also producing. For
That's a lot of multitasking, Ethan.
Hey,
I don't know if it's possible.
I think you're up to it. But yeah, we really appreciate everyone joining, everyone tuning in for this season. It's been a really fun season so far. I think it's going to only get more and more fun as we come down the wire because we have a lot of really closely, evenly leveled teams.
Yeah. Talk about a great series. We had one earlier today with the New Orleans Curse hosting the League City Legend. New Orleans Curse pulling off the sweep there, 3-0, a dominant fashion. Really great to see the Curse on the up and up.
Yeah, the program's second ever series win. You love to see it. Definitely puts them in a position to make it to MLQ Championship. It's been a while since we've seen the New Orleans there, and it would be a great time. They've got some real talent there. I think Charlton Trammell was someone we were really excited, really enjoying watching in that series.
Yeah, Charlton Trammell. Emily Thompson, also a great ad for that team. Really sort of jumped onto the scene a little bit last year. Not a lot of people saw.
Wow. So sorry to cut Nick off, but this is going to be a red card for Brady Grow. I was surprised that Grow seemed upset about the fact that they were getting a penalty because it seemed like a pretty clear hit. Clearly upset because they knew the red card was coming. This is a huge game-changing moment here if Toronto can take advantage of it. 2 full minutes with missed down a beater for Rochester, and obviously Grow won't be playing again here in Game 2. 7-3 is the score. Quaffle turnover as well. This is a huge chance. I don't see where Rochester's bludger is at this moment. There's a loose bludger on the ground over here, and that's the third bludger right now. Bunn should be able to put this away, and suddenly we've got ourselves a game.
You say should be able to, but Mitch Vargas and Cody Kiefer back there.
Well, Mitch Vargas should not get an opportunity. I say very clearly he should be tapping. Kiefer should be able to go back into his keeper zone to get an opportunity. That's exactly how this is playing out. Medeiros is in the lane, passes across to Dykstra. Dykstra drops the ball, and Mitch Vargas gets the defensive stop.
Good ball movement there, though. We do have another stoppage, but good ball movement. You do like to see that. An unfortunate hoop dislodgement. No one at all, I believe, made any play for that hoop. It just happened to be a lot of players around it, and that was that did lead to the no-goal situation. But again, Toronto not necessarily capitalizing on the opportunities that they've been given.
I'm not sure what the stoppage is. Might have just been tracked down some bludgers. Yeah. Sherwood's coming way off pitch with one of the bludgers. So that's what the call is.
I know we don't have geo-tracking in MLQ here, but at this pitch, this facility, I would love to see what the beaters are doing from a sheer distance standpoint out here tracking down these bludgers. We have a timeout from Rochester.
Yep. Yeah, so Rochester now has to figure out what they're doing with the next 2 minutes of gameplay. Obviously, Toronto really unfortunately couldn't get that opportunity that they really needed, would have brought it back down to being a 3-point deficit. But now they need to press, and luckily they have practiced pressing against Cleveland, so hopefully they'll be able to break out more of that here with this advantage that they're going to have for the next couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, what would you do in this situation, Ethan? I would slow the ball down as much as I could without eliciting a stall warning, but I think that's going to be difficult here with the dominance these Toronto beaters have shown.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we saw, though, that Tomlin in Game 1 was actually able to do a really good job with him. Butcher. Tomlin's currently the one serving Brady Gross time, so that's not going to be an option. But, I agree. You have to slow it down. You get your stall warning from Crystal Comp. There's no harm in getting that stall warning. And really, I think you want to make sure you're burying, if you're not getting a scoring opportunity, if the press is happening, you want to make sure you're burying the possession back behind your offensive hoops to avoid, first of all, an easy fast break, but also the offensive possession is happening too quickly, where then you still have to deal with the fact that you're down a beater for a whole nother offensive possession.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Rochester here and we get out of here with only 1 goal given up, that's a win.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And, they have been very composed. And obviously, if you're Toronto, you need to make sure that you're telling your players all the basics. You need to give them the space to cross half field so that they're forced to cross half field. Talk to the ref if you need to. Say, hey, I'm standing pretty far back. Something I always like to tell my players to, make sure you're communicating with when you're trying to get that stall warning.
Yeah. And the only other beater on the field for Rochester right now is Solomon Gimniak, a great athlete in their own right, but not necessarily playing a ton of beater minutes throughout their career.
Yep. Vargas has the ball. So not too slow on this. I mean, Chris Comp is walking up right behind Vargas, so I'm not sure he would have let him get away with much. Ashkar now back in the game to help kill this penalty. When will the press come? Because right now Toronto's sitting very, very deep, and that's going to allow Rochester to eat time. Pass goes across to Stanish. Stanish back up to Vargas. Great job so far here from Rochester. At some point, these beaters might have to step a step farther out. It is going to be a step out. It is going to be a beat, and then a 1.5, and Vargas to Bassam Ashkar. And you said you'd be happy if Rochester got out -1. They're now +1 on this 2-minute red card penalty.
Well, now they can get out -2.
So now running down the other side is Latorsai. Latorsai tries to hit the lane, has passing options, but no, just lets it fly to no one. A good defense by Stanish. Stanish was looking to run. I don't think Bassam Ashkar is that interested in extending the lead. Though, no, he's just going to try to go. Think he might have used a reset there. That is a reset. Vargas is called clear on the beat, which means he's able to get down the lane. Pass it across the Stars. Rochester's now +2 on this red card power play. I think a conversation, nope, we're just tracking down bludgers again.
I found this on the web.
So just like that, it's now 9-30. Things are getting out of hand. Rochester playing down a beater, but it's just because Toronto has not seemed to feel comfortable enough pressing their beaters any higher up the pitch.
Yeah, they absolutely needed to press their beaters out and make engages and take risks, and it's not necessarily happening for them.
Kahane now back in the game alongside Smithson. First time we're seeing Wills Nielsen in the game for Toronto. Oh, a long beat on Latorsai. Howard over to Dykstra. Dykstra puts it through. Great hands there from Dykstra.
That's what we want to see, right? That's it. Howard is the key that makes this Toronto offense turn.
Now Bassam Ashkar looking to go immediately the other way. Does get by Howard. Gets by everybody. Throws it through. Immediately going the other way. 3-1 now on this red card power play for Rochester. Simon Giminiak really doing the work of multiple people on the pitch right now. Kahane trying to hold off Giminiak. And it is going to be an extended no bludger situation. Wanless is back in the game now. Does get the quaffle. Trying to get by Ashkar. Throws a shot. Good to see Wanless back. Good to see Wanless on the scoreboard. Melchior loudly coaching from the sideline. Like we said, I think Melchior might be done for the day, but still trying to make an impact from the bench. When your head coach has to, be playing actively on the field for major minutes, helps to have somebody else, being that voice over there.
Yeah, even just keeping the energy up, right? That's it. It's tough when you're down 5. You got to make something happen. That often starts in the energy side.
Yep. Kiefer into the lane, finds Van Buren. Van Buren gets it to go. No, we're going to have a conversation about it. Hard to see from here, but people with much better angles making these calls. 10-5 currently the score. Goal was called good, so now it's 110-50 in favor of Rochester. They do have bludger control, but the red card did end before that last possession. Really good stuff from Rochester up against a beater disadvantage for 2 whole minutes. Ball starts in the hands of Joseph Latorsai. High pressure from Rochester. Finally, we get some beats from Kahane. 2 defenders are going to be out of the play, which means his team can run, but the pass, the pass gets tipped through. Wills Nielsen gets his first of the day just on a little tip drill. But now, looking to go the other way because there's no bludgers around, is Cody Kiefer. Did that beat hit? We're going to wait for a call. No, beat before.
Yeah, and going back down here the other way, we see that all the time in the NBA here. I'm a basketball fan. I'm going to compare it a lot. We see that all the time with big men around the hoops tipping the ball in there, and that was just a little tip drill to get rid of the ball right there.
But what I like is what that play ultimately happened. Sure, it was a bit of a luck, but what happened is finally both Rochester top quaffle players were beat out early in that play, and Toronto ran off of that. The thing is, if you're running off of that beat that's almost at midfield, it's a 4-on-2 fast break for a short time period.
Yeah, and if we look at that Toronto lineup that's out there right now, there is some height there. There is some we could possibly see some passes being threaded in that only they can get to.
So extended conversation here. 2 things to talk about, I guess, probably the beat attempt and the shot attempt. Okay, so the call was a no good goal, but Scherzer is sorry. I apologize. Chris Lecomp's hand signals are confusing me, but it's going to be a...
We're waiting for the call here.
Yep. The goal, I think, was called good.
The goal is good.
But I'm not sure. I saw Scherzer have to go off the field. Oh, Scherzer was just on the field as talking to the team. Blue card, though, coming against Kiefer must have come after the goal. Probably for making ref calls. If I had to guess.
We've all been there. We've all been there, especially here in the booth these days.
All right, so Latorsai bringing it up. Down 6 here. Bludger control is back with Rochester. Oh, Kip Alport, the high press again, forces the turnover. And now it's going the other way. Van Buren just going a couple minutes ago. Oh, a great swat there from Michael Howard to keep this play going. And a shot gets knocked down by Wanless, picked up by Wilson, and now Nielsen forces the loose ball. Wilson has it again, wrapped again, ball's loose again. Palpour with the ball now. Shot goes wide. A great block there by Nielsen, and a wild possession comes to a close.
Great pump fakes by Palpour. Got several people in the air and continued to take space.
Yeah, the hoop was just not his friend on that possession.
Is it any of our friends, Ethan?
Sometimes. You know, if you're positive about it. Latorsai bringing it down, has Medeiros. A loose ball. Medeiros now has to get into a coffin corner, and Palpour has the answer. And it's batted just luckily over to a teammate, but the Beats still clean it up. We've seen that a couple times from Medeiros here, you know, getting into his position where he just doesn't have the safe passing options. Now Wilson looking to go the other way. Working on Wanless. Ball gets loose, and it's just picked up here by Cater. Pile up on the field. Beaters aren't coming into the play. No, finally Sherwood does get over there. So the defense has kind of settled down for Toronto. They still need a little bit more going on the offensive side. Oh, Cater with the fake to get into the lane. Latorsai over to Medeiros. A bit of a rugby play here from Toronto, but it's going to be called beat before on the second to last pass, forcing the turnover. Callahan and Fordham now in the game at beater for Rochester.
This is Callahan's first shift in this game, correct? They were the big turnaround for that first game for sure.
Palpour, a long pass shot knocked down, and now you know Rochester's trying to throw a little bit too much into this zone. So now Toronto gets another opportunity, another quick loss of possession for Rochester. Wanless bringing the ball up. Latorsai has the ball on the wing, has some space. Just tries to pass a little too complicated, but Gahane's able to keep control with a good beat on the weak side beater. Latorce now has the ball. Did they get it off in time? Called okay. Wanless able to keep the possession going. Does have Cater behind. But Wanless gets chased all the way around. But Callahan ran all the way up, all the way back with him, and finally makes the beat.
That ball went all over the pitch that whole possession, Ethan.
It's been quite a few possessions in these games. It's been a wild one here in Rochester. Mitch Brown bringing the ball up with a 6-goal lead. Fordham backing down Medeiros. Brown zips one over to Stanish. Stanish across, again knocked down by Wanless. This long, lanky defense is paying big dividends for Toronto. And now Medeiros might try to run on Mitch Brown. Medeiros goes right by him. Oh, but it gets a hand on it. Good D from Mitch Brown. A little bit of help D as well. Jack Mosley cutting off the driving lane. Now Mitch Brown's looking to go the other way. No bludgers here. Cater does absorb the contact. But we're going to be waiting for bludgers to come back onto the pitch again. Medeiros trying to get a few extra stops. Crystal Comp having none of it.
We all tried it.
Yeah, this might actually work out for Mitch Brown because now he can survey his passing options. He has multiple ahead of him. On the prior play, he'd run into a head of steam, but now it's Mosley he's able to easily find. So it really works out in Rochester's favor. They get the fast break goal. We do have a player down. It's 130 to 60. And we'll get a stoppage here. I believe it's Fordham down. So obviously a much more dominant performance here from Rochester. What's been the difference here in game 2?
The beaters have been playing way more confidently. Toronto's not adjusting to this high press and allowing them to force turnovers very quickly up top. And when Rochester gets to get out and run, that's when Rochester looks great.
Yeah. But, it has, because you're right, because it has kind of still been an up and down effect when it comes to the half-court offense from Rochester, right? We've seen some wasted possessions lately, but finally when they're able to get out and transition there, Mitch Brown finding Jack Mosley, finally getting this team on the board again.
Yeah, I think across MLQ, we've seen very few teams be completely comfortable executing in the half court. You brought up great points in that these teams, a lot of them have only been together for a couple weeks beforehand. Some of them have only been together for a couple days before their first games.
Right. Yeah, and obviously Rochester playing its first games with Toronto, getting to make the adjustments from their 3-0 win over Cleveland a few weeks back. Stakes of this game, if Toronto can come back and win it and win game 3, they would clinch the North Division. If Rochester wins this series, if they go into Cleveland and win that series as well, they would clinch the top spot in this half of the North Division. A chance to play. They would be guaranteed a top 2 seed in the North Division. They'd play in July in South Bend against the top team from the other half of the North Division, which features Minneapolis, Indianapolis, and Detroit for a shot at the crown. Rochester has won North Division crown. They also haven't played their entire history in the North Division, but would love to make it 2 here this season.
Yeah, and you and I both will be there at the North Division Championship in South Bend, and I'm certainly excited to see all the great Quidditch we're going to see there.
Toronto breaks their huddle coming out here. 7-point lead for Rochester, 130 to 60. Parkinson subs in. Off the fast break goal, it is going to be Toronto ball. Chris LeCompte just explaining some things. I don't think there's any penalties coming. No, Taylor is headed to the box. And they're saying this happened, I guess, after the goal, so it's going to be another Quaffle turnover. Ball goes to Parkinson, and Mosley has the Quaffle, and there's nobody in front of him. Mosley just scored. Was not expecting to get rewarded with another opportunity here. This time goes across to Stanish. Stanish absorbs the contact from Wanless, puts it through. 2 goals just like that.
Just some miscommunication
Yes,
there.
Smithen had his white headband out. But now there's 4 beaters on the field. I don't know. Something's getting wonky here in Toronto. Okay, it's all getting figured out. Sorry, we got a little bit headband confused there as well. Medeiros bringing the ball up. 140-60 is the score. Medeiros has the ball down the side. Nobody stepped out yet. Now Mosley steps out. Down to Alley. But Callanan was there immediately, forces the turnover. And it's just more lockdown defense out of Rochester. Bringing up the ball now is Mike Purell. Purell flanked by Mosley and his beaters who have kept bludger control here. Loose ball picked up here by Toronto. It's in Alley's hands. Alley bringing it down the near side. Joanne Lamb is option on the same side. In the middle is Cater. Lamb tracks down. Another big beat by Parkinson. Another turnover here. Goes and gets tracked down by Diveston.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily what we want to see from Toronto. We talked about today, this wind, you can't really be floating passes like that.
No. Purell bringing it up.
Hickmott back in at beater for Rochester.
Yep. Bludger control did go to Taylor and Kahane off that possession. Purell all the way out to the outside. Into the middle. Shakes off Joanne Lamb. Puts it through before the beat from Kahane can come. And that's one issue we've seen from Toronto. Just these deep sitting beaters have just allowed Rochester to just get away with anything they want on the pitch. Last possession here at 20 minutes. Alley's trying to drive in. Swings it across. Cater looking for the goal. Slips it through. Toronto able to get a good momentum shift there. Just a brief one. 10 points. And we will get it to the 20-minute timeout. And it's a long climb here from Toronto if they hope to keep this series alive and win game 2.
Yeah. I would expect to see them. They need to catch the snitch here at all. They cannot give up those 35 points, especially with the only 60-point set score added on.
Right.
If Rochester catches here, we can consider this one pretty well wrapped up.
Right, but obviously it's just such a tall hill to climb. It's been the really unfortunate injuries that have made it so hard for Toronto. So much of their first line really not playing at this point in the game. And, you know, Rochester not in that situation and really has gotten production up and down the roster, which is so much of what we talked about, this Rochester team kind of doubling down on their youth last season. And now we see it. I mean, players who, you know, last season were kind of unknowns, having that good season, then going back, whether they were in college or club this year, having a nice college or club season, and then returning and really, you know, being impact players at this point.
Yeah, and we are seeing much better ball movement out of Rochester in general. Even in transition there, they were looking for passing options, and it wasn't so much the floating once you get wrapped up. It was looking to draw the defender right before contact. You get rid of the ball, and that's when you find the opportunities that Rochester is finding.
Yeah, I think I'm a little far from your sheet, but I think they've Rochester has 8 different scorers already in this game.
Yes, well distributed.
Yeah.
Much better than even their last game.
Right, but that's what you like to see, and that's the kind of thing that's going to pay dividends. I mean, we always talk about MLQ games, especially series, you know, 3 back-to-back games play more like a marathon than a sprint. You can't get there on the back of one line. That line will be gassed by the beginning of game 2. So you really do need to be able to show that you can produce all the way up and down your roster.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get to see Paupour here at Seeker, which is a great thing to see. Paupour, one of the few true Seekers in the North Division. Really a strong player. Originally came out of that BU program, trained under Harry Greenhouse, a legend in the Seeking game for several years. And that's really going to be a treat for everyone here involved.
Yeah, the moves will look very familiar if you watch Harry Greenhouse for a long time. But, I mean, what's so crazy, obviously Paupour was almost exclusively a Seeker in the college game. and only really became a chaser with this Rochester team last year, then was a chaser for the Bosnian Bear Sharks all year in USQ, and now is a top contributor on this team.
Yeah, and has really been a force for this team.
So we're going to get going here with Pearl in possession of the quaffle, bringing it down slow. Beaters are kind of all out of the play, so Smithson and Palpor might get an easy run. No, it's going to be Hickmott. Bludger control is with Toronto. So they might be able to give Smithson, who already has one catch, the first shot. Quick stoppage here.
I think it's just going to be a quick swat foul on Howie here.
So Michael Howard heads to the box with a blue card for an illegal swat. But hey, if he gotten away with it, it would have given his seeker a lot of time here. So, might be worth the risk. Hickmott trying to find a way into the box as Pearl goes end-to-end and scores. So Howie's right back in the game. Smithson, almost gets on first shot. A really nice one there from Smithson. Such a height advantage here. And a lot of time, the Toronto Beaters once again winning the battle around the snitch. Howard getting pressed high. It's Rochester playing in the quaffle game, forces another turnover. Pearl's going to try to go the other way end to end. Pearl trying to get by Custers, who's finally back in the game, gets it over to Stonish, a goal. Real nice there from Rochester. Smithson does get the catch, but I like what Rochester did here. They said, what's a way we actually lose this game? And a way they lose this game isn't Toronto getting 3 points. It's Toronto going on like a little mini 3-0 run with stitch up pitch and then getting 3 points. So, they basically just end up trading 2 quaffle goals for the 3 goals of a snitch grab. When you're up 100 points or so, that's perfectly fine on Rochester's side.
Yeah, I will say, though, Smithson is continuing to deliver for this Toronto team. And even if they don't necessarily walk away with the series win today, that is a huge positive.
Yep.
We've talked about who's going to be the definitive seekers in this North Division, and if Smithson can work into that conversation, that bodes well for Toronto.
Yeah, obviously also super exciting to see Andrew Custers back on the pitch. He was such a huge part for this team in Game 1. I believe had his first 2 goals, or at least one of the goals, in Game 2. Unfortunately, Michael Howard is now limping off the pitch. Unfortunately, it's really been the story of the Raiders so far today.
Yeah, big physical game, a lot of hits, a lot of tough tackles here today. And the Raiders definitely wanted paying the price for that.
This is something that, Rochester's been making its name on for, 10, 15 years in the sport at this point, which is absolutely crazy to think of, that they've been able to keep that reputation over and over and over again as being this hard-hitting athletic squad.
Yeah, they continue. We talk about building a culture, right? Rochester definitely has a culture.
Yeah. So we will get started again. If the scoreboards are flapping around a lot in the wind, but it says 170 to 105 right now.
Set score of 210.
So 4 more goals needed for Rochester. Would need 11 from Toronto to get back in this series. Of course, we've talked so much about how every game really does matter in MLQ right now. And, even coming back in Game 3, not only could it matter for the standings to win that 3rd game, just matters for, the team to show that you can beat a team like Rochester as you have to go into a very competitive North Division championship.
We saw this happen in the East Division, right, where New York came out and rattled off those 2 wins.
Including a blowout in Game 2.
I was going to say, the second in dominant fashion. And Washington comes back, gets to a next goal win scenario, continues to play, wins that Game 3, and that provides a lot of momentum going into their second series next week.
A 2-1 just feels so different than a 3-0 for sure.
Yep, and even experience-wise, if you continue to play, continue to fight, you learn about more things. Washington got great experience in that next goal win scenario, and that continues on to pay dividends later in the season.
Yeah. That said, they also have to Toronto has to make decisions here about, how many minutes you want to play Custers here, given that you have such a long climb back into this game. Do you want to save him more for Game 3?
Mm-hmm.
A long pass there to Dykstra. Dykstra can't get that one. I think Hickmott had the beat on her. But she's been getting into good spots in this game, too. Pile up in the Bludger game way behind. I think it's Derek Taylor and Emily Hickmott over there.
Meanwhile, down the other end, Callanan makes a great catch on Kane to force potentially Bludger control on this end.
Yeah, and no Bludgers at minimum, so Pearl has an opportunity. Tarek Taylor's coming running in. Alyssa Giroso has no idea he's there. And there's the beat that's going to force the Quaffle turnover. Giroso is going to be pretty pissed that nobody on her team told her anything. Oh, Lamb in the lane. Floats one perfectly across to Medeiros. She knows how to take her space.
Years of playing in that Emerson core of old, a dominant team during their time. Lots of ball movement, lots of fun, fast Quidditch for that team. I would say Lamb is very familiar with transition opportunities.
We also love a good push pass floater in transition. Even against the wind, if you get enough force about it, it's going to get to where you need it to and get your teammate time to run under it. Mitch Vargas now into the game. It's 170-115. Gets across to Lombardi. Lombardi to Giroso, who just resets it back up to Vargas. Vargas has been so hard to tackle. Medeiros currently has the job. Custers is there as well, but Gahane makes the beat. And Toronto's got a little something going here.
You know, we talked about in the Cleveland-Toronto game where Cleveland started to go on that mini run in the end of the game. And if Toronto can sort of pull that energy in, given the competitiveness we saw in game one, let's see what they can do.
Yep. Miss beat there by Gaminiak. And a big beat there by Sherwood. Joanne Lamb has the ball on the wing. This time Mitch Vargas closing, gets it up to Custers. Custers knocks it over to Bunn, and then back to Custers. Here's some tap beating from Sherwood. Setting it up, Bunn on the left, Medeiros on the right, and Custers bring it down the middle. Oh, and that's just free. Beautiful. Scherger walks in, tap beats the hoop defender, pass across. That is free. This is a completely different Toronto we've been seeing for these last couple possessions.
Yep, and Scherger going to look to make a play for control there. Doesn't seem to come up with it.
Nope, it is going to be budget control back to Gaminiak and Parkinson. 170-125 now the score.
But now that crisp ball movement's coming back, we're seeing more offense from Toronto, right? And it's coming from places we hadn't seen before.
Yep, Kiefer across to Vargas. It's a big task for Joey Lamb, but she strips it. What a defensive effort from Lamb.
You should know by this point, Ethan, having seen her through her whole career, that Lamb makes those hits.
Yeah, definitely a player who is very happy that two-hand tackling is now here after returning to Quidditch after a number of years.
You go back and dig up those old articles, you see her name all over as one not to be messed with in a one-on-one situation.
Yep. So can Toronto keep this little run going? A long pass across to Wanless. Kiefer steps high. The wind is really picking up here. Bunn has the ball, goes back to Wanless. Evan Parkinson is tracking, but no, it's blocked. Wanless hits the lane. Medeiros has the ball, but a big tackle by Vargas is probably going to end this possession. It's a pile up behind the hoops, and it is Vargas who comes up with it.
Scherger there to get possession back from Gaminiak.
Ball is stripped loose. Sherwood should have time to make a play here. Another big hit there by Gaminiak. Gaminiak does come off broom. It is going to be bludgeon controlled to Toronto.
Yeah, Solly employing that trademark physicality to continue to force the Toronto beaters to make decisions.
Asking for a sub now, though. 170-125. Scherger happy to press a little higher than we've seen and wins really hard exchange there with Parkinson. Beats out Kiefer. Meanwhile, but Sherwood misses the beat, which allows Vargas to hit the lane. Vargas puts it behind the Lombardi, but Wanless has the stop. Custers could consider running here. No, he's just going to fall on the ball and keep control. Custers down to Wanless. Wanless, there's no bludgers anywhere near them. Can they get by Giroso? Rips it across. Cater takes a high hit from Kiefer. Kiefer, I think, knows, but on the advantage, Wanless puts it through. This is, if you include the snitch grab, I believe a 65-point run here for Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we talked about, right? You often say it, don't call it a comeback, but I smell a little bit of a comeback brewing here, and this is great from Toronto. We're seeing it from a lot of the players that we didn't necessarily see it from earlier in this game.
And the thing is, this isn't all happening with Rochester, 1 or 2 goals away from the win. Rochester still needs to find 4 more goals. There is still plenty of life in this game. And honestly, I think it's Custer's getting back into the game. Just kind of, he's played so hard every minute he's been in the series. Some of the defensive plays we've seen he's making, and that kind of thing is infectious on your team. We've talked about how winning 50-50 balls has really decided so much of the series, and he's the kind of player who imparts that in the team. Kiefer trying to respond, though. Kiefer makes a statement going down the other way. End to end, puts the mid-range shot through. 180-145. Rochester finally back on the board.
You want to talk about physicality. Cody Kiefer says, I'll show you physicality. And it comes out in force there.
Sherwood subbing out of the game here. Sugar has a bludger against Tomlin and Parkinson, who are currently holding control. It's going to be Robin Zhu re-entering the game. Passes across. Wills Nielsen. We see again a nice pass down to Cater. Oh, Cater went for the reach shot. Can't get it to go. Wanless. Oh, is going to track the ball. And it's going to be a goal. Nielsen puts it through.
You know, though, Rochester at this point is okay with trading goals. They just can't allow mini runs to go on like that.
Exactly. One more run like the one Toronto just put together, and we would have a game again. And the thing is, you know, Custer's did sit most of the game. It is a lot fresher than a lot of players. Can play a long shift here.
Mm-hmm.
Exchange there. Emily Hickmott wins one with Zhu. Ashkar in the lane, gets wrapped, gets it off to Mosley. Mosley now hits the lane. Their shot goes low, but it is returned by Palpour. And now it's just 2 more goals needed for Rochester here to win the series. Once again, it's that Tomlin-Hickmott line that's done such a good job of confounding the opposing team and holding bludger control. Wanless now has the ball, getting pressed hard. Gets it across to Nielsen. Zhu takes an exchange with Hickmott, but Hickmott throws back. Custers now has some space at the top of the zone if he wants it, but it's just going to slow it down. Palpour knocked out by Zhu. Over to Cater. Cater, a big hit by Ashkar. The ball gets loose, though. Nielsen picks it up. No, it's going to be called a turnover. And now they can run. No bludgers back. Palpour fakes once, gets around Nielsen with a help from a tap beat. Into the lane. Custers wraps him. Pass off to Ashkar. Wanless goes down for it, as does Mosley.
Yeah, and I think as the stockpile hopefully sorts itself out, Tomlin didn't release his bludger there to make that happen, and that just comes with experience, right? Those little tap beats will make your chaser's life a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. Good defense from Toronto, tracking here. Custers is going to sub out. Looks quite exhausted on the sidelines. McCoo now in at beater. Dykstra back in the game at chaser. And holding on to the ball is Latorsai. 190-145. Medeiros with the ball. Walking the tightrope of the midline. But gets it down to Smithson. Smithson with 2 grabs on the day. Gets it behind to Dykstra. It gets tied up by Wilson, and the ball is picked up by Palpour.
And one thing we haven't really talked about right now is that Hickmott is continuing to throw her bludger back to hoops on the engages, which is allowing Rochester to keep control off of these high press situations.
Right. Just smart, experienced play out of these Rochester beaters. Ashkar bringing it down. Needs 2 more to seal up this win here in game 2. Gets into the lane. Shot gets knocked down. Mosley can't get it cleanly. It's a loose ball picked up by Medeiros. It's going to be a pile-up, but in the end, it should be Toronto ball.
Yeah, and I love to see that screen from Palpour, right? We talk about them not being used enough in Quidditch, especially against these compact 2-2s. That sort of screen is there at the top.
Right. But that Toronto length has just been so effective at, you know, getting some of these shots down from this Rochester half-court offense.
Yeah, and Ethan, you coach a Harvard team known for its length around the hoops, and that is a goal-saving attribute time in and time again.
It definitely allows you to be more compact with your zone because you know you can knock down those shots that other teams might not be able to if someone gets within, you know, a 6-yard box. So it's still going to be a pile-up here. A beater's going to probably have to make something happen. I'm not sure if Hickmott's considering trying to make a play on McCoo here and how that would all end up playing out. McCoo does get beat right next to his hoops. Robin Zhu does pick up a ball. Now it's bludgers all over the field. There might be a runoff for this bludger control. McCoo is just trying to make life difficult for Hickmott. Takes a beat, and it's going to be Toronto taking up the ball, obviously, with no beaters there to clean it up. Latorsai with the ball. Down 5. Rochester needs 2. Toronto needs 7. A high press again. Tomlin, the big beat. Palpour gets the ball. Oh, it's an exchange of bludgers. That's going to allow Palpour to go down the field. Finds Mosley. Mosley hesitates once, puts it through. It is now game point for Rochester, 200 to 145.
Callanan coming in right now. Callanan and Hickmott together. Not going to mess around. Going to continue to force the issue against this tired Toronto core.
Yeah, the two veterans in the beater core amongst a lot of younger players. Callanan pushing high against Taylor. Taylor tries an exchange, gets the block from Callanan. That's going to allow a press on the other side of the field. Dykstra gets the ball. Oh, Latour's like gets beat. It's going to be a turnover. Ken Van Buren ended here, trying to get in the lane. A wrap from Medeiros. Back to Ashkar. Ashkar looking to put the series away. Gets by one. Finds Van Buren again. Van Buren finishes. We wait for the call, but it looks like it's going to be a Rochester win and a Rochester series win here on their home pitch. 120-145. The Whiteout take a 2-0 series lead and put themselves in position to potentially contest for another title. Nick, what about this series have you expected, and what's kind of surprised you so far in these two games?
I expected the physicality out of both teams, right? Rochester seems to be winning that a little bit on one end, but Toronto continues to be very, very strong on the defensive end of the ball. What I didn't expect to see was the Rochester beater core playing as evenly as they have with this Toronto core and winning a lot of these opportunities. Hickmott has taken a big step in the beater game now, continuing to make those smart plays even off of the high press. Rochester running this unique high press is also something that I didn't necessarily expect, and it's definitely paying dividends.
Yeah, and you know, this Rochester team with its physicality, its ability to hit some shots, you know, a lot of Quaffle cores are a little bit younger this year. There's not a ton of shooters. And, you know, if their beaters can kind of keep getting parity, this is a team that could definitely be dangerous as the season continues. We've got one more game here, and like we talked about, every game is so important. So we'll see if Toronto can get back at this Rochester team after a pretty solid stitch-on-pitch period there. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a little under 15 minutes for Game 3 here. I'm Ethan Sturm with Nick Jablonski, Harry Clark, our producer. We'll see you in a few. Hello and welcome back for Game 3 of our Series of the Week here in Rochester, New York, featuring the Toronto Raiders and the Rochester Whiteout. The Rochester Whiteout have already taken 2 games. They've taken the series, but a sweep would almost guarantee them a spot at the top of this half of the division, whereas at 2-1 they would have some business to take care of against Cleveland. And also for Toronto, it would just be a big momentum shift in what's a long season to get one off of Rochester here. Nick, what do you think Toronto's got to do differently here?
I think Toronto's got to look to contain the transition opportunities for Rochester, and I think they have to understand that press is coming out again. You've got to make tap beats on the players up top. You've got to look for those beaters to come to you, and you've got to win the engages up top when they're out of their zone.
Yeah, I talked to Toronto head coach Michael Howard in between games, and he was saying, we're going to be emptying out our bench. This is going to be a great chance to get some of our younger players minutes. Obviously, dealing with a bunch of injuries. Brian Melchior, head injury, is going to be out for the rest of the game. Michael Howard himself dealing with an ankle injury. Custers thinks it might be a meniscus injury. He did play in Game 2. We'll see if he keeps playing here in Game 3. But because of all that, a very, very different look starting lineup here for Toronto in Game 3. Nielsen and Medeiros starting in the Quaffle game alongside Dykstra and Ali. And then in the beater game, it's going to be Zoo and Maku. On the Rochester side, Bassam Ashkar once again gets to start at keeper. Palpour and Giroso, and I believe it's Van Buren who's getting his first start of the series, and then Sally Gominiak and Emily Hickmott running for Blutcher. So a lot of change on both sides. I think both teams really understanding the value of giving some players some new opportunities in a game that, while still very important, might not have huge implications on the final standings of this division. Broom's up here in Game 3. Palpour does win the race with Medeiros and flips it back to Ashkar.
Control with Rochester as well, where they were so successful in this prayer game.
Yeah, a really good Brooms up from them. Hickmott bringing it down deep alongside Ashkar. Ashkar's going to get in the lane, flips one up to Giroso. It is going to be Van Buren who wins the race to the 50-50 over Medeiros. And a long pass to nobody in particular. I do think Ashkar kind of picked the toughest option there, trying to float one across to Giroso.
Yeah, but a great tip by Ali there to make it just out of reach of Giroso. If that hand's not there, that's coming down for a goal.
Yeah, Ali definitely a player who is one of those beneficiaries of, a little bit of more of a roster shakeup on the Toronto side. Definitely getting more minutes than he might have expected coming in here. We'll see if he can have a solid Game 3. First thing he's going to have to do is deal with this really high press we've seen from Rochester. And there it is again, just closing down on all the options. Zoo does get a tap beat off. It's going to go back to Dykstra. Hickmott's trying to close. And there it is again, the press. Gominiak makes the beat. I think it's going to be Dykstra who gets there first, though. So Toronto's able to use their reset and maintain possession. They do need to find a way to get bludger control, though. And the beater core for Toronto, it's going to be an illegal swat here on Dykstra. But yeah, the beater core on Toronto is the fresh part of this team. It's the Quaffle core that is a little bit more turned over. I'd like to see a little bit stronger effort because the beating is not going to get any easier as Toronto gets deep and deeper into their season.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's not going to get any easier. This team is missing a good chunk of their beater core here today through several different circumstances, and that fact is that depth is going to help them come North Championship.
For sure. Medeiros down to Nielsen. Nielsen, a nice block on the Gominiak beat, trying to get behind Palpour, looking for a passing option, does eventually find Medeiros. Van Buren closing quickly, though, but Van Buren gets it round, but Emily Hickmott really threads one past the Quaffle there for a nice beat. Gominiak making a big hit on Robin Zhu. Is going to be a beat on Maku. Maku throws back. Zhu trying to keep bludger control. Might have an opportunity to do so here. Makes the beat. It is going to be briefly a no bludger situation, but now it's going to be 2 bludgers back. Robin Zhu absorbs a big hit from Gominiak and then makes a play for bludger control.
A great wrap there by Nielsen, too.
It forces the reset. Zhu's going to beat out Ashkar. Oh, and she dodges the beat from Tomlin. Goes down hard on another hit. Maku is going to be able to clean this up, though. It's going to be a pass behind. Can Maku get to this one in time? Palpour, though, is defended by Medeiros and just has to slow it down.
Man, Zhu shaking up those hits like it's nothing.
Yep. Oh, McCoo's able to track this one down. A real nice stand from the beaters of Toronto, playing a little bit more like the beaters of Rochester there. And a lot of that's on Zoo and the comfort to play up high. She's going to sub out, but she's earned that substitution.
Yeah, I think if I took those 2 hits, I'd be headed towards the sideline too.
Yep. Shira Hirsch into the game. I think the first time we've seen her all day. Tap beat on Mosley, trying to give Bunn a little space. Gets it over to Hayter. Hayter zips one through. Oh, it gets off of the edge of the hoop. Thought that one might have clipped, but we have no angle on it.
But that tap beat, we've talked about it for weeks at this point. Those tap beats allow your chasers to take that space and find those little lanes to thread.
Yep. So still 0-0 here early in game 3.
Yeah, if you're Toronto, you want to keep this game low scoring. You want to keep this game tight.
Oh, Mosley's shot goes off the T-bar. Palpor picks it up, but again, it's a quick close by McCoo. And I feel like McCoo's really been thriving in this free beater opportunity that they've been kind of setting them up for. A high press. Latorsai can't be beaten his own keeper zone, but Ashkar just deflects a pass, and that is just an effort play out of Ashkar, gets Rochester on the board in game 3. Or might get them on the board.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here. There was a keeper in their zone. I'm curious to see if there was a beat call that maybe should not have been called there, and that allowed for the off-broom throw.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see.
Michael Howard talking to his players on the field, the young group of Quaffle players that started this game.
I am loving what I'm seeing out of this Toronto beater core, though. The more aggressive stance here, forcing. I mean, if that's where you're getting your goals is just crazy effort plays at the end here, that's not what you want to be if you're Rochester. You just ran away with game 2. Other than that little run by Toronto in the stitch on pitch play side of things, you need to be forcing the issue more. And if Toronto's beaters continue to play like this, I don't know how Rochester is going to keep forcing the issue.
So Chris Comp having a conversation with the keeper, Latorsai. So Ashkar's going to get the goal for his efforts, and Rochester's finally on the board here in game 2. They lead 10-0.
Game 3, Ethan.
Game 3. You know, we're staring into the sun. We don't have a tent today. We're standing because my chair makes me seem like a toddler. So, you know, we're dealing with some stuff.
A great block by Tomlin over there
Yep.
to continue to allow this pressure to happen.
Yep, Emily Hickmott presses high. Wanless goes back to Latorsai. Latorsai tucks, trying to get by Palpor. Palpor draped over him, forces the pass to Bunn. Tomlin is up there, and now a loose Quaffle, and we get a stoppage.
I think it's just going to be a turnover from a reset to no one.
Yep. Quaffle's just rolling away on us, though. The only blood beater in the play is Hirsch, so she may be able to close down enough to prevent this from being a fast break goal. Ashkar, though, gets beat, which creates a no-bludger situation briefly. So Palpor looking to pounce, gets by 1, gets by 2, throws it through with authority, 20-0.
Yeah, we talked about we liked what we were seeing from the Toronto beaters there. If your beater's going to take out the off-ball option, you need to collapse hard on the one player who can score the ball there, and Palpor got the time to make that happen.
Yeah. And the other issue is just Mosley being in the right place forced Toronto to not fully commit because the pass would have just been free for Palpor if they did. Mm-hmm. And they ended up getting the worst of both worlds. Beat there on Cater, forcing the turnover. And now, once again, it's that bludger control from Tomlin and Hickmott that's making all the difference in the world. McCoo does have one bludger back as Hirsch is trying to fight for the second one, but against 2 bludger beaters all by herself, it's not going to happen. McCoo does not beat out Ashkar. Pass to nobody. Ashkar's able to get it, and you just wish that, you know, McCoo would have made that tap beat. It could have forced the turnover. Ashkar bringing up the field. Fakes a shot, gets in the lane, makes a block. It's now no bludgers. Slips by 1, loose ball picked up. Shot goes low and out of play.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot from Ashkar today. I mean, he's sitting on, I believe, 6 goals this series, but could have had a lot more if he continued to hit those shots there. And he subs out for his troubles.
Smithson in the game at beater. We haven't seen a ton of him beating outside of brooms up. Done more chasing, some seeking. Really has been an everything man for this team so far today. Medeiros now has the ball on the left wing. Sherwood in the game alongside him in the beater game. Finally get a beat off on Tomlin as a big hit here, and now it's going to be Palpour with some space. Can Palpour get by Medeiros? He can, makes the mid-range shot. It's his second of the game, and just like that, it's 30-0. And we get a stoppage. For a Bludger well off pitch, Tomlin's going to need that one, because otherwise Toronto might be able to just go immediately the other way. They did get Bludger control, but it was the fast break on another press that just does them in one more time.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen Toronto be able to go on these little runs when they have Bludger control. So I'm curious to see if they can do that here. I'd love to see them turn around, play aggressively against the beater of Tomlin up top here, and force the issue here.
So Latorre is going to bring it back. Howard subbing in the game for the first time, coming in as a wing chaser, going to play down on the right side.
Good to see him out there.
Ball goes all the way back to him. He's got a lot of space to work. Good spot to attack a 2-2 from. Nobody's stepping out to him very quickly, so he's going to take the space. Can't make the shot, though. It's headed for the hard boundary. He's going to track it down himself, but to no avail. So Kiefer's going to get the ball with a 30-0 lead. A couple of times we've seen that from Toronto where they get the space, but they don't immediately attack, and that allows the adjustments that weren't coming fast enough in the first place.
Absolutely. I love this aggressive play out of Sherwood. Sherwood taking the engage role here and continuing to force Rochester not to step into those dangerous areas.
Yeah. Very similar to how the first line beaters were playing it, and we kind of like that. The Smithson might, no, he's not going to lose budget control, but it's going to force a no-budget situation. And who is stopping Cody Kiefer? I think the hoop might have stopped Cody Kiefer. Wanless has the ball, and there's no budgets. Wanless might be able to run. Going up against Vargas, takes a wrap, falls back, does not go down. Still no budgets. Tomlin finally gets one, and Wanless throws the ball to, oh, it does come down to Medeiros.
That one dropped.
Yeah, that was like some of my Frisbee throws from Can Jam yesterday. They took a while to get down, but they did eventually land.
We're full of different sports references and lawn game references here today on the Series of the Week.
Hey, we love a good lawn game.
Yeah.
All right, so Brady Groh and Aaron Parkinson coming into the game now.
Groh, of course, picking up that red card in the previous game and not being able to play the majority of that second game.
Smithson tries a trade with Groh. Groh gets the block. Lombardi throws it behind. Back up to, oh, and Latorre says no to Lombardi, now looking to go the other way. It's a beat on Kiefer that's going to allow the fast breaks to continue, and Wanless is going to get it. And once again, just like you talked about, when Toronto's beaters get a little something going, some good things happen. Can Sherwood keep budget control here, though? Parkinson's trying to get it back. She's going to be beat, and yeah, I think it is going to be held on to here. Smithson able to do just enough and throws back. So 30-10 and budget control still for Toronto.
Yeah, talk about an energy play there. To be able to run out in transition and get an easy goal, that's what you want to see Toronto doing when they don't necessarily have the starting line that can pass around as sharply as the earlier games today.
Kiefer takes it all the way back behind and then resets it back up to Lombardi. Smithson once again sitting deep. This time Sherwood sitting deep as well. Wind picking up here again in Rochester. It's been a windy series, as we've mentioned. Big tackle by Wanless on Vargas. Ball is loose, and coming into the game and picking it up is Custers. Another opportunity to run. Brady Groh has to throw it all the way back, and there's nobody back there. Custers gets by Lombardi. A jersey grab is going to be an advantage, Clay. Can they make anything out of the advantage? Wanless gets taken down by Kiefer. Wanless goes down hard, and it is going to end up being a foul. Kiefer also comes up limping. The physicality keeps taking a toll out here today.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we want to see from this Toronto team, though, pushing the pace, continuing to make Rochester, a younger group of players, force the issue and play good defense.
Yeah, and Toronto's got to be happy with where they are so far in this game. I mean, they're going to get a power play here. Might be an opportunity to score. And I mean, 3-2 here with, you know, the amount of players they're down right now. The fact that they came out with a very young Quaffle core is really good to see. So we thank you guys for watching our Series of the Week here in Rochester. We want to thank the Rochester Sports Commission as well for partnering us for this series. Beautiful field out here. And, you know, one more series to go still today. Starting in 5 minutes at this point. Definitely a bit of a long one out here for our Series of the Week. Over in the East Division in New York City, they'll be hosting the Ottawa Black Bears. You can catch that on the New York Titans Facebook page. We also just want to shout out our Patreon real fast. Our Patreon's got some really great content on it. Really enjoyed the first episode of Cuts with Cupid, which is our player vlog, which is going to be focused on the New York Titans and the experiences of their seeker, Kellen Cupid. His awesome salsa moves on display in Ian Skura's highlight reel from the midweek, which I definitely recommend you check out as well. Along with Cuts with Cupid, we have Set a Pick with Ryan Rocky and Jessica Markle. Definitely one of the most entertaining pieces of analysis I've definitely seen in Quidditch. Definitely worth checking out. We're just going to be doing other content throughout the season as well. But most importantly, it's really just an opportunity to kind of support what our digital media team has been, pushing to do. Nick Jablonski here, he's done so much good work. Harry Clark, our producer today, has also been doing so much work for us. And, just those funds allow us to keep it pushing forward with what we want to do. We want to be able to give a really watchable product, whether it's, the stream, our highlight reels, our analysis pieces. So we do really appreciate if you can support our Patreon in that way. Schedule-wise, next week, the series of the week heads out to the South Division for the first time for a colossal matchup between the Austin Outlaws and the San Antonio Soldados. Nick, I got to ask you, we just saw the Curse this morning beat the League City Legends. League City, hung a good amount of points on Austin. Then the Curse, who just came up with a sweep, yes, they played Soldados a little tighter, but, maybe they're a slightly better team. So do you think Soldados can really give Austin a run this season?
I mean, how can you not think they can give them a run, right? With Daniel Williams on that team. Michaela Sparza has 21 goals. 21 goals in 3 games out here. That team, while they may have looked like they had some troubles against a 2-2, 2-2s don't matter if you get out in transition, and there's no 2 better in the league, maybe in the world, at getting out in transition than Esparza and Williams, right? And on the other side, that Austin team has a lot of turnover. I'm curious to see if they can continue to develop and grow as they want to throughout the league. That is a team, obviously, with championship aspirations, but I do think that you have to say that San Antonio is going to give them a game.
Yeah, I will play devil's advocate a bit in that, there's no team better at controlling the pace of a game in the world than this Austin core. And, if they can kind of keep control of the game, force San Antonio to beat them in a series of half courts, which I think has kind of been the story all over the league. We have not seen a lot of great half court offenses so far. Obviously, as we've talked about, these teams have not been together for all that long. We'll probably see improvements as the season goes on, but that could definitely be the difference maker. But yeah, you can catch that series 9 p.m. Eastern next Saturday right here on the MLQ network on YouTube. We also really appreciate, if you could click the subscribe button while you're watching us here. Just, keep eyes on our content. It really does mean a lot. It really helps us, again, to get more of an imprint across the site. Alongside that, Nick and I will be at Washington, Boston next week, which I believe is 7 or 8 p.m., 7 p.m.?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern in Boston. That is also going to be a fantastic series. Really a great weekend for Quidditch next week. Washington took the 2-1 loss to New York on our opening series of the week. And then last week, if you were watching, Boston gets the sweep. We saw Washington really struggle against New York's mark. We saw that Boston was playing a lot of mark last week. Do you think Washington will learn its lessons after week 1?
I mean, how can it not? Justin Cole is the best off-ball chaser in the sport as it stands and didn't play off-ball. We saw Brian Mulcahy getting 6 to 8 yards of space on every backdoor cut, and those great free beaters of New York were continuing to clean it up. I would love to see Washington, as we talked about, take those tap beats to give their off-ball chasers more space and continue to play with that free-flowing passing game, right? And I think that that's going to be, of course, Boston has the beater core to match that, right? All the way down, top to bottom. But if we saw this Boston team also kind of struggle against a Charlotte team that doesn't necessarily have the half-court ideas that Washington's going to bring against them.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I mean, on the other side, we have to kind of see what TJ Jenrick can bring to the game. I mean, I'm going to keep calling him the most underrated player in Quidditch until people start properly rating him. Was injured going into that New York series, didn't play a lot in Game 1, but down the stretch when they needed him in Game 3, he was the ball carrier. He was freeing up all those off-ball options you were talking about, the Brian Mulcahy's, the Justin Coles. And I hope to see him keep playing a bigger and bigger part because he's magic out there. Some of the ways he scores goals, obviously hitting the game winner, but some of his other goals throughout the series definitely made a huge difference as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One of the most fun players on the pitch, for sure.
For sure. So we'll kind of see how that all plays out. And in the North Division, we've got Detroit taking on Indianapolis next week as well. A big game there. It's going to be Indianapolis's opener. Obviously, Indianapolis, the most North Division titles of all time. But this is a massive turnover in Indianapolis, specifically in the Quaffle game. Nathan Digman's still there, still the coach, but he's definitely got a project to do with a lot of younger players. That said, the return of some of his key beaters through the years, Matt Brown returning from injury, Tad Walters. We've talked a ton about beating this season. It's been so vital. I think this Indy team could definitely have the best beater core in the North Division. Not saying it by any means as a fact, but definitely could. And it'll be interesting to see if they can take the right first steps to try to defend their title against a row that's probably eventually going to have to take them up against this Rochester team when all is said and done if they want to win the title.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see. We haven't seen Indy play at all this year. That's a team that has relied consistently on constant producers in both the Quaffle and the beater game. And with that sort of turnover happening in the Quaffle game, I would expect for them to lean even heavier on that beating core. But as we've seen with some of these teams, right, new injections of talent can reinvigorate a team, right? And that Indy team maybe had a little bit of stagnation, coming out 2 years in a row, constantly ducking the quarterfinals, and creating. So maybe this new set of players can create a sort of revitalization for that Indy team.
That said, Detroit also a super young team, and we're really facing off against a very veteran Minneapolis team last week. Just kept improving every single game, leading to a down to the wire game 3. And it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of play up on that. They're not the team who's playing these first games. Indianapolis is the one who has all those young Quaffle players and is going to have to play their first games together. So it'll be really interesting to see, who gets better there. I believe that series is a 1 p.m. Eastern start, and up in Indianapolis. So definitely recommend we tune into all the action next weekend. I think we are about to get started here. Wanless has been helped off the pitch by a couple of teammates, so we'll get a substitution. I assume we'll get a call as well because I believe there's advantage on the play.
Mm-hmm.
But just taking you back in the situation, it's 3-1 Rochester here early in Game 3.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot of benefit and a lot of improvement out of Toronto in these last few minutes, right? Continuing to push the pace, beaters playing aggressively. I really like to see it. Hopefully, this doesn't take them out of that too much.
Yeah, obviously dealing with a lot of injuries in this series, and not always the easiest thing to keep getting up again and again and again from. So we'll see how things play out here.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard enough of Ethan and I's voices today, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, we have MLQ Replay where we recap all of the action. Ethan and I will be watching back all of the games that happen this weekend for you tomorrow. You should do it for yourself as well. But if you want to hear some analysis, we have some great people on there, great interviews. Last week, it was an absolute joy to talk with Cody Narveson of the Minneapolis Monarchs, as well as we talked Javian Stewart from the San Antonio Soldados. We don't know who we're going to get this week so far, but definitely tune into that right here on the MLQ network.
Yeah, and I wouldn't show up for us. I would show up for Ragu Achikola and Jack McGovern. Definitely more soothing voices than we bring, yeah. So I think we're about to get started here. I assume there's a card coming. So it is Pearl who is taking an injury sub for Cody Kiefer, and then assumedly is probably going to serve the card that I think was coming off of that advantage. Play still being figured out here. Custer's getting back onto the field as well. Everything's just shaping up. It's been a bit. Lengthy timeout there in a lengthy series.
Yeah, but a really fun series to be out here. I'm really glad we made the trip out here for the series of the week.
No, yeah, I mean it's been an entertaining one. We've seen these teams both tested really on, and it's so important because you do not want to get, you don't want to have your first really tough game happening in game one of your MLQ championship. So for these teams to get this experience, definitely means a lot. All right, so it's just going to be a loose ball picked up by Rochester, and that's how we are going to restart here. 3-1 the score. Sherwood's able to get bludger control back. She and Smithson have it here, and they're going up against Callanan and Gominiak, two of the veteran beaters of this team. Callanan going up high, puts a couple beats on the Quaffle players, but eventually Custer steps up. He cannot be beaten in his own keeper zone. Pearl shot gets knocked down. Caleb Van Buren comes up with it, goes all the way back to Stonish. Ben Stonish bringing it back out. And we do get an exchange that is going to mean bludger control for Rochester. No bludgers here. Stonish gets hit hard by Custers. The pass goes wide, hits the out of bounds. We need Quaffle assigned, and it will be assigned to Toronto. Another stop for the Raiders.
Good physicality by the Raiders there, right? We talked about how that Palpor goal earlier, that with no steps there, it allows for those easier mid-range shots, and that physicality was definitely there for Toronto.
Yep. Always delivered by Custers. There's been no doubt about that. He's going to sub out after that one. Nielsen with the ball up top. Allie going all the way behind. Nielsen jumps, passes to Allie. Miniak misses the beat, so Allie's going to get a chance to drive. Goes right around Van Buren, makes another dodge. Oh, and it's Callanan. Was it Callanan who went flying through there? I'm not sure. Either way, it gets knocked down, and Van Buren's going to fall on
I think it was the hoop that
okay.
Stuck that one away from Ali. Great speed, though. Great way to take the lane there. Just not quite the finish we were hoping for.
All series, when the hit always comes, you start expecting the hit even when it's not there, and I think that might have just held up that shot a tiny bit. Van Buren up top with Pearl. Passes all the way back behind. Stonish has it, and then out to Pearl again.
Good shifts by this Toronto zone to continue to force ball movement.
Yep, Smithson wins an exchange, which is going to allow a press, forces a pass, and I think we might be headed for a red card. So things just have gone from bad to worse here for the Raiders on that defenseless receiver hit. Obviously, Van Buren going up for the ball, and the tackle comes. Allie, one of the few keepers still on the roster that's healthy, so we'll see how Toronto can deal with that one. Looks like Nielsen is going to serve his penalty. No, Nielsen won't serve his penalty time. He'll just take the green headband from him.
Custers, who just subbed out, might be making a quick shift appearance.
I mean, he'll get 2 minutes to keep resting. No, it's going to be Bunn who's going to take the penalty minutes. Van Buren, can't tell from here if he has an angle to shoot, but he definitely has a lot of beaters in front of him. He does get the ball back to Pearl, but the shot gets knocked down by Medeiros, and that was a little forced into 2 bludgers there by Pearl. So we saw Rochester have a dominant sequence down of beater. We'll see what Toronto can do here down at Chaser. Might not be as easy. Nielsen has the ball. No rush here. Happy to kill some time. Subbing in alongside him is Sinan Cater.
Toronto beaters split apart here.
Over to Dykstra. Dykstra looks to drive in. Oh, had a Cater flying through the lane. A really nice cut, just couldn't quite find him. Kahane has to throw back. Taylor's going to try to protect bludger control for them both. A big beat on Callanan, but that's going to create a no bludger situation. Van Buren, though, releases one high above the hoops. Takes us back to that Charlotte series a little bit.
Shooter's got to shoot, right? Even when they're not falling, you'd think the next one always is.
Yep. Stoppage on the play here. 3-1 still the score. No goals since we came back from the extended injury timeout. So Callanan, I think, is headed to the box. So hey, now Toronto might be able to get ahead on this red card.
Yeah, it was a very late knockback by Callanan. I mean, these beaters right at this top level are looking for every single little opportunity, and the ARs did not let them get away with that one.
Hey, which credits the ARs.
Yeah. We love to see it.
So Dykstra bringing the ball up. Bludger control still with Toronto. Obviously, has to be right now with the beater foul. Cater the open option. Dykstra finds him. Slows it down. Van Buren steps high. Tries to slip to Van Buren tackle. Tap beat misses. Tap beat misses. Dykstra in the lane. Dykstra knocks down the shot. Composure out of Dykstra there. And it's a 1-goal game, 30-20. And Hickmott losing exchange with Kahane.
A great engage by Kahane there to force a potential no bludger press opportunity.
So Taylor's going to be able to press the second. Pearl clears. Yeah, and then it's Tomlin who gets beat out there now too. But no, now both beaters got out of position. Van Buren's able to drive, but it's knocked down. And now going immediately the other way is Latorsai. Toronto has a chance to tie things back up here. With some dominant beater play, this young core of Quaffle players has done just enough to hang around here. Latorsai gets wrapped there, can't make anything happen. They have weighed out the penalty though. Bunn is back in the game. And just like that, we have another red card that goes positive for the team serving the red card. 2 for 2 today.
Small sample sizes, it seems like a red card is good for teams based on this situation.
We'll definitely have to talk. That'll be our one burning question from LG for this week. Should you get red cards? All right. Pirol bringing it down. Trying to get by Bunn. Does so. No, Bunn just strips him, and now he's got room to run. Tap beats clear everybody out. Oh, but Bunn has to slow down. Bunn in the lane, can't make the shot fall. And now all the bludgers are in the hands of Toronto or just rolling off the pitch. Kahane gets really stuck chasing this one down, but Rochester's not able to capitalize.
Rochester with control now, though. Yep. So we have seen that with control, so come the goals.
It's definitely been the most important thing. And Rochester is bringing back in Ashkar alongside Palpour, definitely looking to get something going. Sugar in the game, taking over for Taylor and a nice shift, and also Hirsch in the game. Tomlin faking exchange with Sugar. Tap beat here. Oh, and Hirsch tries to make a play for Bludger control. Can't quite do it. Ashkar gets tackled strongly there by Cater. And across to Palpour, and Palpour puts it home. 4-2. Sugar is able to get Bludger control back, though, for his team.
Palpour with 3 of the 4 goals here for Rochester. And we see how that... Palpour didn't even play any quaffle minutes, or very minimal quaffle minutes in his college career, and 1 second year with Rochester and 1 year in the USQ club scene, turning into a threat off ball.
Yep. So Joanne Lamb re-enters the game on Latorsai's side. Emily Hickmott wins a beat for potential bludger control. No, it's just going to be no bludgers. Joanne Lamb hits the hole, finds Bunn. Bunn up top, can't find a whole lane. Medeiros now has the ball. Back to Lamb. Lamb again trying to use her space. Fakes right past. And a big tackle there out of Mitch Brown. Ball still loose though and picked up by Medeiros. Medeiros trying to get by Palpour.
Oh, and Sugar throws away control there on an attempted beat attempt and doesn't pick up the loose bludger.
Lamb rolls one out to Bunn. Ashkar gets beat, so Bunn's going to have a chance to drive. Wilson now a wrap on him. But like you said, this Rochester bludger control now might pay dividends, though I think bludger control might have just gone the other way. It has on a missed... No, Emily Hickmott takes it back off of Hirsch. A lot of bludger control exchanges in this possession. Medeiros is walking a tightrope. But really, what I like about Medeiros is he uses every inch of the field that he has.
Yeah, we talk about teams that don't use their reset enough, and Medeiros is definitely not one of those players.
And then a smart play there, it was his only option, but at least slows down a fast break going the other way. That said, it might still be coming. Ashkar is coming down the field. Latorsai is looking to get a wrap, gets faked out of his shoes, pass off to Palpour, probably should have just been finished. Now it's up to Palpour to try to get another goal. His shot goes low. It's going to roll across half field. Is it going to roll across the keeper zone? Ashkar able to keep it out. So it's just going to be a reset and not a turnover.
Yeah, we talk about $1 million moves, 5-cent finishes. That was a $1 million move, 5-cent assist there from Ashkar. Really should have finished that one around the hoops.
Ashkar with it in the middle. Brown gets it on the wing. Bludgeon control is with the pair of Parkinson and Groh. Brown trying to get by Lamb. Lamb composed in front of him. Hirsch the only bludger for Toronto. Now it's a no bludger situation. Lamb is able to get a wrap, but Mitch Brown maintains his composure, puts it through the middle hoop. 5-2 in favor of the Whiteout. So it is going to be bludger control, though, here for Toronto. And we see even more Smithson this time in the Quaffle game, just doing everything for the team.
Yeah, and that's probably a need to go to your depth here heavy for this situation. A great swap by Palpour.
I mean, Palpour's had Medeiros' numbers on that wing over and over, just kind of getting in his face and making those swats, keeping the passing lanes closed. Sherwood beats out Brown off ball. Is bludger control in the hands of her and Mahu.
Great physicality by Parkinson there.
Oh, that shot goes high, but no, it might have been a pass because Palpour has yet another goal. 6-2 Rochester. On the back of no fewer than 4 goals from Palpour. Big hit there. Oh, and bludgers are just going flying. It is briefly no bludgers. I'm not sure if Nielsen will be able to capitalize, though. Mitch Brown looking to push him out. Can't quite do it. Comes off Broom. Nielsen gets behind the hoops. Nielsen finds the pass to Smithson. Smithson knocks down the pass. Looking to go. Ashkar, though, has a good wrap. Smithson slips out of it. And finds Custers just in the nick of time as a Parkinson beat makes its way through.
Yeah, and we're seeing Robin Zhu in the Quaffle game here for Toronto.
Yeah, definitely speaks, I think, a little bit to those depth concerns.
Yeah.
Only listed as a beater on our roster. Then we get a stoppage. It's going to be a penalty against Mitch Brown. Yellow card.
You could definitely say Chris Lecomte is doing a great job of keeping, even though this series has been physical, Chris Lecomte has done a great job of keeping a lid on anything that could be conceived as heavily chippy.
Custer slowing it down. Does not have bludger control here. Extra. Oh, can't. Palpour just sits in every passing lane. What a series it's been for Palpour. 6-2 the score. They are going against bludger control, though, and we've seen the struggles in the half court for Rochester in those situations. I lied. I apologize. They don't have bludger control. Must have been lost at the very end there. Ashkar on the wing. Nielsen guarding. Palpour now with the ball. Over to Ashkar. Custer steps out. Custer pushes him back. Oh, but he finds Palpour yet again. It is 5 for Palpour. And that's the 20-minute timeout. It was a close one for a long time there, but suddenly it became the Kit Palpour show.
Yeah, I mean, Palpour, for a player who did not play many Quaffle minutes, if any at all at BU, continues to show that he is in the right spots at the right time, finishing quickly off the pass, hitting those mid-range shots. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, but obviously won't be starting here at Seeker, though the last game Rochester didn't really try to play Seeker. Smithson caught pretty quickly, so it'll be interesting to see if the strategy switches up at all, because unlike that last game, you know, a stitch grab means a lot more here. It is only a 5-point deficit. Things would definitely get close. Obviously still a long, long hill for Toronto to climb, being down a lot of players. I don't think we've even seen much of Michael Howard in this game, so I'm not sure we're going to see any more of him. So a tall task to climb, but, you know, it'll be interesting to see if Rochester changes up its snitch on pitch strategy given all of that.
Yeah, I mean, both teams seem to be a little bit more tired. This has been a long series. It wouldn't shock me if Rochester just makes aggressive plays to just try and get out of this one as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets the start at Seeker for Rochester. Kip Halpor obviously on the field. He just scored. And Cody Kiefer, I think, might be done for the day. We haven't seen him since he came off with that injury at the same time as the Toronto injury that stopped play for a while 10 minutes back. So it'll be interesting to see how this entire period plays out here. We're playing to 1:30 with the score 70-20 here.
Yeah. Solly Gominiak looks to be getting the start for Rochester here. Not surprising given their prowess as a seeker throughout years past.
Devin Sandin walking on the field. We still haven't gotten a seeker, I don't believe, from Toronto's side. But I assume it will be Smithson once again. It is going to be Smithson once again. 2 grabs already today for Toronto. Bludger control favors Rochester. Toronto's done an absolutely phenomenal job in snitch on pitch beating both games so far.
Yeah, Smithson 2 for 2 so far on grabs. And relatively quick as well.
It'll be up to Mahu and Kahane to get something going here with bludger control. They lose the first exchange, which means Solomon Gominiak's going to get the first attempt to grab. No, it's actually Beater's nowhere, so it's going to be a 50-50 opportunity. Now it's Gominiak's opportunity. Sandin is pushed out of play. No catch there. And it's going to be a turnover in the quaffle game. Coming the other way here is Ashkar. Ashkar slips through Nielsen. Ashkar hits the lane. This time he just takes the straightforward approach, puts it away, 80-20. Custer's bringing the ball down, and there's going to be a stoppage, a call on the play. (80-20) the score, playing to 1:30 here in Game 3 of our series of the week.
That's a blue card on Callanan, number 17 for Rochester.
That should give Smithson a good shot here.
Yeah.
And also give Toronto a chance to score in the quaffle game, which they've just not been effective at, even though there's been no bludgers in it a lot of the time. Kahane's going to get to shut down Gominiak here, which is going to give Smithson a chance. It's now going to be a bit of a 50-50 chance right on the border. Smithson almost gets there. Gominiak almost gets there. Custer still has the ball in the quaffle game. Fake handoff to Cater. Nobody's stepping out to Custer's right now, but he's not stepping in either. Joanne Lamb trying to set a screen for him. Custer's just needs to take some space. It is going to be Gominiak coming up with the catch, and that should all but seal a 3-0 sweep here for Rochester. Just a quick conversation between the snitch ref, the head ref, and the snitch. It would be Rochester's first grab of the day in Gominiak's first minutes of the day. Tough for Toronto there, facing the beater power. Well, sorry, with the advantage of the beater power play. Catch is called good. So 2 more goals for Rochester to finish out a sweep on Toronto. See if Toronto, though, can at least get a goal here in the brief amount of time they're going to have no bludgers.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely would love to see, Custer's maybe get a little bit bigger here with the opportunity.
Yeah, Lamb with the ball, though, and we know she likes to take her space.
Calm and slow here from Custer's, though, even against no bludgers. Tries to get by Palpor over to Lamb. Lamb looking to hit the hole. Floater. Custer's goes up high, can't come down with it. Ashkar does. And there's briefly going to be, I think, no bludgers going the other way. Kahane is forced to go down. No, sorry, Makut is sitting back with one. Sun's right in our eyes at this point. I'm doing my best. Mitch Brown has the ball on the far side. 2 more goals needed here for Rochester.
Toronto in a full force mark right now.
You gotta try something. You gotta try something at this point. A good pass to Palpour, but Palpour, who's been money all day, just can't handle that one cleanly. Dykstra gets the ball as Custer's subs out. Latorsai coming back into the game. A big high press there from Hickmott again. Forces the turnover. Girosa looking to go the other way. Dykstra not recognizing. Oh, Girosa uncorks one, but the hoop is not friendly for the second time today.
Yeah, and that's just a tough look. Great job by Girosa to take her space there. And that shot was dead on if that hoop stays still.
This press just keeps giving Toronto fits, even though they haven't crossed half field.
I do like this still from Rochester, this high press.
And it's a hard drive there by Keeter, but it is Ashkar is able to knock it down. Bludgers are everywhere. It's going to be a no bludger situation, extended no bludger situation. Chasers are cleared out. Ashkar hits the lane. Palpour looking to get one more, is going to do so easily, and it is now game point for the Whiteout as they look to complete a sweep to open their 2022 season. $125-20. Definitely a depleted Toronto roster at this point. Sugar misses a tap, no, hits a tap beat there on Mitch Brown. Torsai trying to get by Palpour. Bunn now with the ball. Over to Zoo. Zoo fields cleanly. A big hit there from Kiefer. Gets it off to Bunn, though. Bunn across to Torsai. Can't quite come up with it. Medeiros, though, is going to box out Giroso. Does take some high contact, and Mitch Brown is able to steal it away. Chance to put this series in the books here for Rochester. Mitch Brown bringing the ball up, trying to get by Bunn. Fakes once, slows it down. Aaron Parkinson calling for the drive. Brown, though, gets wrapped up by 2, and Sherwood definitely beats before that is shot. Might have beaten Palpour before as well. We'll wait for the call. I thought Sherwood's initial beat would have forced a turnover. It seemed like extended play after it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just possible that players don't necessarily hear in that contact and it continues play allowed. I mean, but it would be fitting for this game for Palpour to score the final goal. 6 of the team's 9 quaffle goals for Palpour here.
Yeah, just an all-around great showing from the young chaser. The ball is just going to be turned over to Toronto. Bludger control is with the Toronto. Bring it up as Latorsai. Sugar running out in front. Wins an exchange with Parkinson on a nice block. No bludgers here.
A great dive by Kiefer there to take away the ball.
Yeah, good to see Kiefer back on the pitch. Tomlin's going to sub back into the game. Vargas is subbing back into the game. Palpour will not get the last goal unless we play for a few more minutes at this point.
Hey, given how games have gone this series, it wouldn't shock me.
Kiefer dodges a beat from Sugar. Does get wrapped by Bunn. Can't get the ball away, and Sherwood's going to force the turnover. A nice block there by Medeiros, too. Could create a no bludger. No, Mitch Vargas just took it off of him. Can't get it going there, though. Yet another scramble in the middle of the pitch in this series.
I don't think Ethan would have been able to handle it if Mitch Vargas gets the strip and game-winning goal there.
Yeah, not to be. 125-20 here in Game 3. Just one more goal needed to put it away. High press yet again. Story of the day here from Rochester. Medeiros tries to drop one off to Zoo. Gets knocked down. Kiefer gets it. Vargas looking to run out in front of the play. I don't think anybody sees him. Does Kiefer? Kiefer does get it to him in a shot pass, but the shot is knocked down. Nick, I need your honest opinion. Was Kiefer trying to score or pass that?
I mean, I think he was.
Why not both?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. I think it was. If it goes in, I'm the greatest, and if I hit this pass, I'm the greatest, and it went neither way.
Well, the result is he managed to get Vargas a card for his troubles.
On that long bomb pass there, you really have to put it where your quaffle player is running to, and Kiefer said, I'm going to bullet this one, and that makes it very, very difficult to time it up.
Correct. Vargas did everything he could, but not to be.
Drop that one right on a hoop, and we're talking about a different game right now. An end of a game.
Nielsen fakes past Mosley. Dykstra has it on the wing. It's going to be a forced turnover there.
Great physicality there by
DeVeston.
Yes.
Kiefer bringing the ball down. Has Mosley on the wing. DeVeston cutting as well. Grabbed by Kiefer. Kiefer looking to do it himself. Gets it to DeVeston. Big hit, and it falls to Cater. We live to play another possession. Now it is Taylor leading in Cater. Over to Latorsai. Taylor looking to make a play, not to be. Parkinson's able to knock it down to complete the beat. Tomlin pushes high, but doesn't see Nielsen. Tomlin lost track of Nielsen. And is Nielsen going to be beat before? Just a question of, I believe that Parkinson beat there. But yeah, Tomlin was ready to run the fast break and never saw Nielsen there.
Yeah, I mean, half the Rochester team was ready to run the fast break there.
And it's going to be a good goal. Toronto gets their third. Kiefer, I think, is going to need to, nope, he's just grabbing a mouth guard. $125.30 here in game 3 of our series of the week.
Parkinson bringing up the rear. Oh, looks like she's going to sub out right now for Giminiak.
Kiefer with the ball. Was in the lane a few minutes ago with a chance to win it. Couldn't do it. Vargas has the ball up top. Throws one into traffic. Knocked down pretty easily there by Latorsai. Not the look you want.
No. I mean, we talked about this, right? Game-ending goals, even in not necessarily a clutch scenario, are often tough to come by, and they definitely require practice.
Cater looking to run. Eats a beat. Gets it across to Dykstra. Dykstra finishes. I think that's her third of the series. And Dykstra's going to take an injury timeout, injury substitution here. Joanne Lamb's going to re-enter the game. One more goal to win it for Rochester here. 125-40. Walking it up is Kiefer. Mosley on the left. Grow leading him in. Bludger control is with Toronto, though. Sitting deep. Brady Grow looking to push them back. Latorsai steps out. Grow takes the exchange, but it's a high beat there by Taylor, and running the other way is Smithson. Smithson has a passing option, or he can just do it himself. 3-0 run here from Toronto. Definitely not going to call this one a comeback yet, but good to see Toronto getting some W's here. Before this one comes to an end. 125-50. And real good stuff from Taylor there. An iffy series from him overall, but good to see him taking some high points on the way out.
You often see this, though, against teams who it's not necessarily a dangerous position to give up a goal the other way. They will sell out in an attempt to get the goal on the other end and close out the game, and it does lead sometimes to gimmies on the other way.
Yep. So Mosley has the ball behind now. Kahane takes an exchange with Groh. Mosley trying to hit the lane. Joanne Lamb, though, a big hit. Goes across to Kiefer. Kiefer can't make it. It's going to be a reset used. And I think there's going to be a card on Cater. Pretty straightforward one there.
Yeah, physicality all the way up and down there, whether it's Joanne Lamb tackling Mosley in the back end to Cater, closing out on a loose ball and bumping into Lombardi.
Rochester now with a power play, still needing one more goal. Kiefer looking to run it down the field. Latorsai steps up. Latorsai gets a wrap. Ball is loose. Gets picked up by Mosley. Mosley might find a hoop. He's getting wrapped up all the way, but does put it home. Mosley's going to take Rochester home with the sweep, 135-50. That is going to do it here in Rochester for our series of the week. Rochester commanding 3-0 series sweep. Want to again shout out one more time the Rochester Sports Commission for hosting this event with us. We recommend you turn over to the New York Titans Facebook page to catch up with their series against the Ottawa Black Bears happening right now. Other than that, we hope you enjoyed. For myself, for Nick Jablonski, for our producer, Harry Clark, thanks so much for watching. We hope to see you next week for Series of the Week, Austin Outlaws versus San Antonio Soldados. Take care.